Chapter 76. Well, the Hingduan mountain range seems to be powerful, but it's just a group of chickens and pottery dogs waiting to die. What you have seen now is just a corner. When you regret it, come to the West Sea Dragon Palace to find me. But at that time, the conditions I can give will certainly not be better than now. Ao Qian blinked her eyes. Her figure flashed, and she directly disappeared on the spot. Mendo's mouth was slightly open with a look of astonishment. Ao Qian of the West Sea Dragon Palace wanted to recruit the Black Snake. He originally thought that it was a great opportunity. With the help of the Dragon Palace, Batu's injury could be better treated. But he never thought that the Black Snake was not even a little bit moved and directly refused the recruitment from the West Sea Dragon Palace. Didn't the dragon snake that he had killed before rely on his ability to transform into a dragon and the opportunity to join the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas in the future so that he dared not put the overlord of this area in his eyes? A person who had the opportunity to join the Dragon Palace was so arrogant, but a person who could really join the Dragon Palace directly refused. Mendo, step back. The three-eyed ape reached out and patted Mendo's shoulder and whispered. Yes. Mendo, like a child, respectfully bowed his head and then silently retreated to the side. Black Snake, your name is now well known in the Hingduan mountain range. In a few months, you grew from an ordinary black snake to an existence that can fight with the wisdom state demon beasts today. There are not many unusual creatures like you in countless years. Moreover, 80% of them are from the human clan and not demon beasts. So, you are very special. But you are too dazzling. The human clan will not let you continue to grow. Even if the Broken Stone clan can shelter you for a while, they can't shelter you forever. If you want to live, you must improve yourself faster and then go deeper into the area until those humans dare not attack you again. The three-eyed ape said slowly with a faint smile on his face. Senior, what do you mean? Lin Yuan was slightly stunned. He thought that the three-eyed ape might tell him about Batu and that the three-eyed ape wanted to get some benefits from him. But he never thought that the three-eyed ape would appear here just to remind him to be careful of humans. What was this? Was it a show of goodwill? It's just an investment in advance. You have the Dragon Clan's bloodline and the invitation of the Dragon Palace, but you resolutely refuse the invitation of the Dragon Palace. This shows that you have greater ambitions. From the outermost demon beast forest to our area, the biggest obstacle in front of you is my Gravel clan, isn't it? If we didn't have Batu as a link, when you appeared at the edge of the Hingduan mountain range, I would have sent all my subordinates out until you were completely destroyed. But now, I think we can talk. The three-eyed ape was still smiling. Lord Sage. Mendo's mouth was wide open, and his face revealed the same astonishment as Lin Yuan's. A black snake at the 10th level of the Spirit Awakening realm did have a place in this area, but it was nothing in front of the Shattered Stone clan. Disregarding everything else, just the Mendo could easily crush this black snake. But Lord Sage's words had a hint of weakness. I don't quite understand what senior means. Lin Yuan slightly tilted his eyes and softly replied. No matter if it's a human or a beast, the fastest time of cultivation is often when they just start cultivating. A few months on the children of my clan might not even be able to learn how to walk, but on you, you were able to turn from an ordinary black snake into a level 10 monster beast today. This kind of growth speed has already surpassed any monster beast that I know of. Even the children of the Dragon Clan might not be able to catch up to you. Right now, you are just a minion that can be destroyed at any time to our Shattered Stone clan, but in the future, you will grow into an existence that the entire mountain-shaking ape clan must look up to. So, there are only two choices in front of me. I choose to stand on your side, it's that simple. As the three-eyed ape spoke, he suddenly reached out and pierced the black line between his eyebrows. Puchi. Dark red blood sprayed over half of Lin Yuan's snake body. When he recovered, the three-eyed ape was already holding a gray stone bead and placing it in front of Lin Yuan. This is one of the inheritances of my shattered stone clan. It is called the Eye of Petrification. Once you pour in your demonic power, you can open the eye. After opening the eye, it will release a petrifying light. No matter what monster beast it is, it will turn into a stone statue. It's just that the time it takes to turn into a stone statue depends on the strength of the realm. Just treat it as a greeting gift from the old monkey. The three-eyed ape gently tossed the Eye of Petrification in his hand, and the latter immediately floated above Lin Yuan's head. Compared to Mendu's confusion, Lin Yuan was more shocked. Was this three-eyed ape really a monster beast? Faced with a junior who was growing at an extremely terrifying speed, anyone would feel that this junior would threaten their position as the overlord. Therefore, they would often destroy this outstanding junior at all costs. However, the phrase, beat a snake to death, was applicable everywhere. Once they couldn't completely destroy this outstanding junior, the two sides would form an irreconcilable hatred. The destruction of a power could often only be because of a momentary selfish desire of the person in power. However, the three-eyed ape chose to be on good terms with Lin Yuan when the same multiple-choice question was placed in front of it. In the future, if Lin Yuan could transform into a dragon, not only would the Shattered Stone tribe be able to maintain their current position, they would even be able to advance a step further under Lin Yuan's reverse nurturing, expanding their territory to an even more vast area. This kind of multiple-choice question, the majority of humans couldn't do it well, but a monster beast could think it through so thoroughly. The name of a wise man was indeed not in vain. I understand. Lin Yuan slightly lowered his snake head, and a strange color flashed through his blue-white vertical pupils. Ding! Detecting that the host has obtained the E-grade tool, Eye of Petrification. Do you wish to equip it? The system's ice-cold electronically synthesized voice sounded again. Equip! Lin Yuan glanced at the Eye of Petrification floating above his head. Speaking of which, petrifying opponents seem to be a traditional skill of snake demons. For example, the Medusa of Western mythology. However, although this Eye of Petrification had to comply with the difference in strength, it didn't need others to look at it. It only needed it to look at others. Following the system's confirmation, the Eye of Petrification floating above Lin Yuan's head suddenly turned into a gray light that shone on Lin Yuan's head. After a moment, the black snake scales on Lin Yuan's forehead slowly turned into a lime color. Pieces of prismatic scales formed an eyeball imprint on Lin Yuan's head. Chapter 77. Host, Lin Yuan status, Heavenly Black Python, in the process of transforming into a flood dragon, realm, 10 out of 10 innate skills, 1. Identify enemy's location based on smell, cannot advance, 2. Create an accurate image of a 500-meter radius based on smell, 0/100, 3. Water/ice control, 0/100, 4. Sacrificial blood wish technique, make a wish with your own blood or another creature's blood, can be replaced with attribute points. Whether or not the wish is fulfilled depends on the strength of the wish and the quality of the sacrifice. 5. Flood Dragon Scale Armor. When the scale armor is in good condition, it can provide the host with a 20% increase in defense. Speed, 14, 10, defense, 23 plus 5. 6 Attack, 14, 10, distributable points, 5 Martial Arts, Golden Body Secrets, 55/75, skills, 1. Death Coil, 138 to 300, 2. Poison of Poisoned Wine, 0/300, 3. Tail Strike, 21 out of 100, 4. Blood Boil Technique, 1/100, 5. All things have spirit, can communicate with other creatures through thought, cannot advance, items, damaged light feather, can be repaired, petrified eye name, light feather, already destroyed, effect, speed +1 upon equipping, additional skill, Light Feather Wind skill, Light Feather Wind. When you fall from a high place, you can glide for a short time. Note, the cost of repairing an item is 10 attribute points. Name, Petrified Eye Effect, no equipment effects, additional skills, Sharp Perception, Petrified Light skills, 1. Sharp Perception, you, who have a third eye, have vision and senses that normal people can't reach. 2. Petrified Light, use Yao Qi to activate the Petrified Eye, which can shoot out a ray of light that can petrify living creatures. Mission Panel, Name, Allserpent's Form Stage 2 Description, you use the body of a rank 10 monster to kill a Wisdom Realm monster and 1. The current you has already made a name for yourself in the Hingduan mountain range. Most of the Wisdom Realm monsters have already acknowledged your existence. Weak monsters will tremble when they see you. Strong monsters will show you some respect when they see you. But to you, the new king of the jungle, this is far from enough. What you need is submission, not respect. Go, you come, you see, you conquer. Mission requirement. Defeat or absorb 3 monster clans. Mission reward, faction relationship model, advance to Wisdom Realm. Failure penalty, lose the qualification to evolve. Mission progress, 1/3 time limit, 1 month. Seeing the new urgent mission, Lin Yuan felt his face twitching crazily. There were many demonic beasts in the Hingduan mountain range. One could casually encounter large and small clans. However, there weren't many that could be called a demonic beast clan. After all, in order to become a clan, the clan must first have 3 great demonic beasts of Wisdom Realm and above. The total number of demonic beasts in the clan must be no less than 200. They must have a territory, and this territory must have a complete ecological chain. It couldn't be a dead land. The demons that Lin Yuan had hunted before could only be considered as stragglers at best. Killing them was not a big deal. However, if he were to start a war with the clan, that would be a different matter. At the same time, not far from the territory of the Stony clan, the remaining leaders of the 3 clans in this area all gathered on a small mountain. They were the leader of the Winter Wolf clan, Blizzard, the leader of the Winter Wolf clan, Qin Yan, the leader of the Black Tortoise clan, and the leader of the Hunting Wind clan, Pingqiu, the leader of the Black Fox clan, who had always appeared and disappeared mysteriously. The 3 great demonic beasts at the peak of Wisdom Realm sat together. They looked at each other, but no one spoke first. Stop talking. This king will speak first. Blizzard narrowed his wolf eyes and said in a cold tone, "You guys know about the black snake that became famous recently, right? This king has already received accurate information. That black snake has already joined forces with the Stony clan. Perhaps soon, when you and I see that black snake, we will have to bow respectfully. So what? We demonic beasts have always been like this. As long as we are strong, we will be respected." Qin Yan glanced at Blizzard and said in a low muffled voice. "TSK, Qin Yan, are you pretending to be dumb or have you really become dumb from sleeping?" The Blizzard Wolf King clearly wants to say that the old monkey has been suppressing us all our lives. When the old monkey was about to die, the Stony clan came out. Although the old monkey isn't as strong as the old monkey and can continue to suppress the 3 of us, the Winter Wolf clan still has a chance to replace the old monkey. Now that the Stony clan has the help of that black snake, the Stony clan's fighting strength has reached a new level. The Blizzard Wolf clan still has to be the Dog King, not the Wolf King that it fantasizes about. Pingqiu narrowed his fox eyes. He looked like he was smiling, but his voice was cold. Qin Yan turned his huge head to the side and said slowly, "So, our Dog King wants to trick us into joining forces with it. He wants us to start a war with the Stony clan. The best case scenario is that we and the Stony clan both suffer losses so that he can reap the benefits." As soon as he finished speaking, Blizzard's eyes flashed with a hint of gloominess. We can't help it. Our Dog King thinks that he's the only one with brains." Pingqiu chuckled and looked at Blizzard with a mocking gaze. As the leader of the Winter Wolf clan, Blizzard was naturally embarrassed to be mocked in front of everyone. However, it wasn't good for him to make trouble now. He could only say with a gloomy face, "Who are you talking to? If the two of you were willing to continue watching those apes dominate this area, you wouldn't have bothered to talk to me. Why would you gather here?" Chen Yan and Pingqiu snorted at the same time, but they didn't say anything. The Stony clan was able to dominate this area mainly because of the existence of the three-eyed ape. When it reached adulthood, it could even easily crush the leaders of the Winter Wolf, Stony Rock, and Hunting Wind clans. Therefore, their fathers had been suppressed by the three-eyed ape for their entire lives. In their generation, they were still suppressed by the three-eyed ape for most of their lives. It wasn't easy for the three-eyed ape to reach the end of its lifespan. The appearance of the Mendu clan instantly dispelled their thoughts of destroying the Stony clan. The balance between the four sides was not bad. However, the most important problem now was that the Stony clan had formed a good relationship with the Black Snake clan. Whether it was the Mendu clan or the Black Snake clan, they were both kings. If these two clans joined forces, the balance would be broken. To put it more seriously, although the Hingduan Mountains was vast, the territory was not endless. There were only so many places suitable for the demon beast to breed. For example, this area could only accommodate the existence of 4 clans. If the Black Snake clan was determined to take root here, then they could join forces with the Stony clan and kick one of the 3 clans out at any time. It was fine if they couldn't become the new overlord. After all, they could only dream about it for so many years. However, when it involved their own interests, it was a different matter. No one wanted to be the loser who was kicked out of the game. Chapter 78. Because the host's existence has hindered the next deployment of the Winterwolf clan, the relationship between the Winterwolf clan and the host has decreased by 15 points. The current relationship is hostile. Because the Winterwolf clan leader Blizzard has fanned the flames, the relationship between the host and the Boulder clan has decreased by 15 points. The current relationship is cold. Because the Winterwolf clan leader Blizzard has fanned the flames, the relationship between the host and the Huntwind clan has decreased by 15 points. The current relationship is cold. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have become enemies with 3 of the 4 major clans in this area. The faction battle model has been unlocked. Please enter the faction battle model to view the details. Question marks began to appear on top of Lin Yuan's head. He still didn't know how to complete the system's promotion mission. In the end, except for the Boulder clan, the other 3 major clans were all standing on the opposite side of him. Wasn't this a hellish start? No. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils suddenly shrank, staring at the 3-eyed ape whose face was covered in blood. The huge snake body began to tremble slightly. No matter what kind of demon beast it was, it would abide by the law of the jungle. If a demon beast was too old, then it would be exiled by its original clan to another area and be left to fend for itself. The rations freed up could be used to provide for the needs of the clan's young. Although the 3-eyed ape looked old, it was able to sit in the position of the Boulder clan's leader. Even such a strong person like Mendif followed its lead. It was enough to prove that this 3-eyed ape was definitely a super strong person. However, after handing over the eyes of petrification to Lin Yuan, the 3-eyed ape did not just look old. At the moment, it looked like an old man with 1 foot in the grave, and it seemed that it could die suddenly in front of Lin Yuan at any time. He seemed to have been tricked by this old guy. Although he had hunted a few hunting teams of the Winterwolf clan and had always been at odds with them, the conflict had not been brought to the surface. Why did the Wolf King called Blizzard provoke the hostility of the other 2 clans towards him? Obviously, the 3-eyed ape didn't have many days left to live. Today it suddenly came to show goodwill, not only because it saw Lin Yuan's future potential, but also because it didn't believe that after it died, with only Mendu's strength and wisdom, it could continue to maintain the Boulder clan's position as the overlord of this area. This old man was here to drag him down with him. However, he had already received the benefits, so there was no way he could return it. He could only suffer in silence and swallow the bitterness into his stomach. With your aptitude, it's only a matter of time before you establish a force. Here, you have the help of the Gravel clan. In fact, it's quite easy to settle down here. If you were in another place, the result would be hard to say. I think this is one of the reasons why you approached Batu, isn't it? I will give you all the benefits you deserve, and all I ask is for you to fulfill your duty as our ally. If you don't believe me, you can withdraw from this area and watch from the sidelines. When the three of them divide up my Gravel clan, you can see if I've coaxed you. After looking at Lin Yuan for a moment, the three-eyed ape seemed to have guessed what Lin Yuan was thinking. Lin Yuan was speechless. After a long while, he nodded heavily. Although the growth of the green leaf water lotus was extremely slow, it was indeed a rare opportunity. Lin Yuan couldn't give it up. So he wanted to develop his force in the Hengduan Mountains. This place connected to the monster forest was his best springboard. If he went to other areas, even if he could conquer a territory, Lin Yuan couldn't accept it. After all, there was a territory of other monster beasts in between. If something happened to the green leaf water lotus, Lin Yuan would have to look at the other party's face before he could go back to help. The three-eyed ape sneered and waved to the guard at the side. They left the place one after another. Force Relationship Model, Blackwater Dragon Palace, can be renamed Leader, Lin Yuan, Member, Batu, 100, Mountain Shaking Ape Gravel Clan, Leader, Bayard, Member. Gentle, Frost Wolf Winter Wolf Clan, Leader, Blizzard, Member. Hatred, Black Fox Hunting Wind Clan, Leader, Pingqiu, Member. Cold, Black Tortoise Boulder Clan, Leader, Qin Yen, Member. Cold, Demon Subduing Master Iron Hand Regiment, Leader, Iron Hand, Member. Hatred, Mountain Blocking Cities Lu Clan. Mortal Enemy, Mountain Blocking Cities City Lord Residence. Mortal Enemy, Force Battle Model, Name, Stoneclaw Forest Scramble, Yet to Begin, Attacking Forces, Winter Wolf, Crevice, Boulder, Weak, Defending Forces, Gravel, Blackwater, Weak, Evaluation, Evenly Matched Opponents. Note, the evaluation of the force's strength is based on the average of all the forces in the Tianwu continent. It is divided into 5 grades: extremely weak, weak, average, strong, invincible. If the host obtains victory in this battle, the host will receive 300 war points. If the host loses in this battle, the host will have to pay 300 war points. Note, the war points can be used to purchase special items. If the host's war points are 0, the penalty for failure will be deducted from the host's attribute points. The current ratio is 1 attribute point for every 10 war points. The host can exchange war points for attribute points. The current ratio is 1 attribute point for every 100 war points. Note, the host cannot exchange attribute points for war points. Trash. After glancing at the newly unlocked Force Battle Model, Lin Yuan snorted in disdain. The combined strength of the 3 clans was only equal to the Gravel clan. With this, they still wanted to be the overlord. However, very quickly, Lin Yuan's vertical pupils flashed with a hint of astonishment. Something seemed to be wrong. The Gravel clan was only able to fight evenly with the other 3 clans because of the existence of the three-eyed ape. However, the other 3 clans were not fools. As long as the three-eyed ape was alive, they would not bare their fangs. F***ck. After thinking for a while, Lin Yuan finally could not hold back and curse it out loud. If he lost this battle, not only would it affect his future plans, it would also directly deduct 30 attribute points. It was equivalent to directly kicking him from a grade 10 demonic beast to a grade 6 demonic beast. Moreover, when the second stage of the promotion mission ended, the system would directly unbind him. At that time, even if Lin Yuan could return to the demonic beast forest alive, he would be separated from the top of the food chain. At most, he would be considered as a high-level predator. Moreover, he would have to face the pursuit of the city lord of Mountain Blocking City, the Liu clan, and the 3 clans if he won. Before this battle of forces even started, Lin Yuan had already seen through it. This was another trap that the system had arranged for him. Chapter 79. There was only one option in this war, and that was to win. If he won, he would get everything he wanted. Not only would Lin Yuan be able to take root here and start building his forces, but he would also be able to complete the system's advancement mission and step into the wisdom state, becoming the top predator in this area. If he lost, he would have nothing left. He would have to dance on a tightrope for as long as he could. At most, it would be 2 years. If he didn't die in the hands of humans, he would die in the hands of demonic beasts. Even leaving a complete corpse would be a luxury. Stupid system, come out. Lin Yuan muttered in his heart. The system didn't say anything, but Lin Yuan heard the sound of electricity. He had a feeling that the Russian doll was scolding him, but all the words had been blocked. That's it. I unlocked a new function model, and there's no reward at all. Lin Yuan blinked and asked with a grin. The system was silent for a while, as if it was stunned by Lin Yuan's shamelessness. After a long while, the system faintly replied, "Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have successfully unlocked the battle model of the forces. You have obtained Basic Map Scan X1. The Basic Map Scan was a good thing. When Lin Yuan first came to this world, he relied on the Basic Map Scan reward to avoid a large number of demonic beasts that could easily kill him. However, after entering the Hingduan Mountains, he had already exceeded the range of his first Basic Map Scan. The system would only give him a notification when the demonic beasts entered his sensing range. If he really met a tough opponent, a distance of more than 1,000 meters would not be enough for him to run. Without saying a word, Lin Yuan directly used the basic map scanning props. Ding. Scanning current map. Ding. Map scan complete, loading, ding. Loading complete. After the system's upgrade, the scanning speed of the map was much faster, and the range was much wider. The last time Lin Yuan was in the demonic beast forest, he only scanned a few hundred miles. But this time, Lin Yuan received a full 3,000 miles. Within this 3,000 miles, the system would give him a warning the moment something that could threaten him appeared. Let me take a look. Lin Yuan closed his eyes and focused his mind on the newly appeared map. Although the system map wasn't so freakish that it could perform real-time reconnaissance without any vision, the moment it scanned, it had already frozen all the images within a radius of 3,000 miles. As a result, every time Lin Yuan took the initiative to check the map, he would see these images. The frozen images would only change when Lin Yuan saw or sensed them. I really don't know if I'm lucky or if you guys are unlucky. Lin Yuan suddenly sneered, opened his eyes, and took the initiative to exit the new map screen. The area he was currently living in was one of the forbidden areas of the Shattered Stone clan. Only when certain rituals were being carried out would the Shattered Stone clan be allowed to enter this area. If foreign demonic beasts wanted to enter this area, they would have to go through a bloodbath of the Shattered Stone clan. Walking 10 miles out, one could reach the Shattered Stone clan's territory. That was where most of the cubs and mother demonic beasts lived. There was also no lack of some mountain-shaking apes that had entered the aging stage. Their bodies were riddled with scars, but they were still strong. They were teaching the cubs hunting and survival experience. It looked like a happy and harmonious scene. The three-eyed ape that forcefully dragged Lin Yuan into the water seemed to live here. Walking another 30 miles out, it was the main activity area of the adult mountain-shaking apes. Similar to Mendu's fighting strength, they lived in this area. They were the first line of defense against foreign forces. Even if they encountered an opponent that they couldn't contend with, they would still buy enough time for the cubs to retreat. And the place where these adult male mountain-shaking apes were stationed was about 100 miles out. There was a small hill. The three clans that were preparing to go to war with the Shattered Stone clan after the three-eyed ape's death were temporarily stationed on this small hill. From this point of view, the three-eyed ape really didn't have many days left to live. Those three clans couldn't wait any longer. It was estimated that after confirming the three-eyed ape's death, they would impatiently launch an attack. Lin Yuan twisted his pitch-black snake body and slowly disappeared into the jungle ahead. He had an immature but bold idea. 2 days later, all the adult mountain-shaking apes of the Shattered Stone clan didn't participate in the hunt. Instead, they silently came to the place where the cubs and women and children lived. It seemed like they were waiting for something. Lin Yuan's huge snake body dragged a simple wooden coffin as he slowly walked out of the forbidden area. The leader of the group of adult mountain-shaking apes, led by Mendu, followed closely behind Lin Yuan. Mendu's pair of bright black eyes flickered with a black light. He lowered his voice and said, "Although we demon beasts don't pay attention to auspiciousness or inauspiciousness, there has to be an explanation for the matter of you making the wise man play dead. Today, if the three clans don't attack us, you definitely won't have a good time." Attack? Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a cold light. He asked back, "Why are they attacking us? Why aren't we taking the initiative to attack them? The longer this drags on, the worse it will be for us. A quick battle is the key to our victory. They're here." Mendo's expression suddenly turned serious. He raised his head and looked at the group of demonic beasts that appeared on the mountain path. There were about 20 of them, and all of them were wisdom-awakening demonic beasts. The leader was a huge wolf with shiny silver fur. Good fellow. When the Black Snake said that the three clans had set up a temporary camp beside the Stone-Shattering clan, it said that the three clans wouldn't have the guts to do so. After all, after being caught by the mountain-shaking apes, it would be a slap to the mouth of the three clans for no reason. Even the clans behind them wouldn't be able to find fault with it. But now, Mendu believed Lin Yuan's words. When the three-eyed ape died, there would indeed be many demon beasts coming to watch the ceremony. If there was enough time, there would also be many powerful beings coming from the deeper regions of the Hengduan mountain range. However, 20 Wisdom Realm demons appeared on the mountain path that they had to pass if they wanted to go down the mountain almost at the same time the coffin came out of the forbidden area. Moreover, they were all members of the Black Tiger, Frost Wolf, and Black Tortoise clans. If there wasn't something fishy going on, it would cut off its head and let them play with it like a ball. Amen, there are more than I expected. But, it's not a big problem. Lin Yuan narrowed his eyes slightly, and his pair of blue and white pupils instantly shrank into the shape of a needle. A vicious aura suddenly emanated from his body. Chapter 80. Black Snake, Mendu, where are you guys going? The leading frost wolf licked its blood-stained claws, as if it had just eaten its fill. Even its voice sounded a little lazy. Our clan sage has died of old age and has already seen the ancestral spirit. Now, we are going to bring the sage to the ancestral land to be buried. Why are you guys here? Mendo narrowed his eyes and asked faintly. Hearing this, no matter if it was the leading frost wolf or the demonic beasts following behind it, their eyes all revealed a trace of uncontrollable joy. Lin Yuan took in this scene and sneered in his heart. It was said that Wisdom State demonic beasts had intelligence similar to humans, but Lin Yuan couldn't verify this. After all, he was a different species whose soul had transmigrated. Let alone Wisdom State, even if he was just an ordinary beast now, he still had the intelligence of a human. But then again, intelligence was one thing, experience was another. For an existence like the Shattered Stone Clan sage, ordinary humans could easily be fooled by it, but these ordinary wisdom state demonic beasts couldn't even control their most basic emotions. Hearing that the sage's thigh had fallen, it immediately revealed a happy expression. It was also fortunate that it was a demonic beast. Otherwise, with this kind of emotional intelligence, it wouldn't be able to live to adulthood. The frost wolf put down its claws and slowly said, "Sir Sage has always been the overlord of our Stoneclaw forest. Something like him going to see the ancestral spirit, your Shattered Stone Clan actually did it yourself." "No. I won't agree. I want to see Sir Sage for the last time." After saying this, Lin Yuan almost couldn't hold back his laughter. Call it stupid, but it clearly knew that it couldn't just believe Mendu's one-sided words and go back to pass on the information. It had to see the three-eyed ape die with its own eyes before it could be at ease. But saying this in front of the other party was simply asking for a beating. The other party's mood was already bad after their own elder passed away. Now that the coffin was closed, you suddenly ran out to open the coffin to see the deceased. If it was someone with a bad temper, they would probably send you on your way. Alas. Mendu sighed and slowly moved aside. "White Claw, you were taught by the wise man when you were young, so I agree to let you see him one last time. But you must promise me to leave after one glance and not disturb his rest." Okay. White Claw nodded with a smile. It didn't have any strange hobbies. Although the flesh and blood of a peak wisdom demonic beast was a great supplement, if it ate the sage's flesh and blood in front of the Gravel clan, it definitely wouldn't be able to walk out of here today. However, if it could confirm the news of the three-eyed ape's true death, then it would be a truly great merit. As soon as he finished his sentence, White Claw rushed to the side of the wooden coffin impatiently and violently flipped the lid over. However, before it could look down to see if there was really a corpse in the coffin, a large hand with gray fur reached out and grabbed its neck. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. This Wisdom Realm Frost Wolf didn't even have a chance to struggle before its neck was broken and it died on the spot. "Do it!" The three-eyed ape's muffled voice rang out from the coffin. Under the horrified gazes of the Wisdom Realm demonic beasts that followed White Claw, countless mountain-shaking apes pounced on them. Even Lin Yuan moved his snake body and coiled around two black foxes that were trying to escape. Death Entanglement was instantly activated and began to squeeze the internal organs of the two black foxes. Lin Yuan was quite confident in his Flood Dragon scale armor against these demonic beasts that didn't rely on physical combat as their main method of hunting. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing a Wisdom Realm Black Fox. The reward is 5 attribute points. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing a Wisdom Realm Black Fox. The reward is 5 attribute points. The two notifications rang out one after the other. However, Lin Yuan's movements were extremely fast. He even put his original 5 attribute points into the Golden Body technique. The advancement mission hadn't been completed yet, so Lin Yuan didn't know how many attribute points he needed to advance to the Wisdom Realm. He didn't even know how many attribute points he could store. Fortunately, after activating the proficiency model, Lin Yuan didn't care whether the attribute points would be wasted or not. Anyway, these skills were as terrifying as a bottomless pit to Lin Yuan at this stage. By the time Lin Yuan released the two black fox corpses, the battle on the other side had already completely ended. Taking advantage of the shock brought by the three-eyed ape zombie attack on White Claw, the Wisdom Realm demonic beasts arranged by the three great clans didn't even have the chance to fight back. They were directly controlled and killed one by one. In the entire process, only the three weaker mountain-shaking apes suffered light injuries. Looking at the entire Shattered Stone clan, the total number of Wisdom Realm demonic beasts didn't exceed 40. The three great clans combined might have a little more than the Shattered Stone clan. However, after this wave, even without the three-eyed ape, the strength of both sides was infinitely close. Lin Yuan already had a 60% chance of winning in this unintentional war. Let's go. We'll directly attack the temporary camp of the three great clans. Lin Yuan called out to Mendo. After resting for a few days, his injuries had almost completely healed, and he was much stronger than before. Killing a demonic beast like the Black Fox didn't require much effort, but facing a peak wisdom realm demonic beast like Mendo, Lin Yuan didn't feel like he had much chance of winning even if he ambushed him. Even if he activated the blood-boiling technique, he would only have a 50% chance of winning. After 3 minutes, he would immediately be torn to shreds by the enraged Mendo. The leaders of the three great clans were more or less at the same level. As such, in the following battle, Mendo and the three-eyed ape would be the main force. Lin Yuan felt like he had picked up some scraps. Getting a few attribute points was already good enough. In any case, his realm wasn't high enough. Killing an early-stage wisdom realm demonic beast would give him 5 attribute points. Killing a peak-stage wisdom realm demonic beast would also give him 5 attribute points. Under these circumstances, why should he risk his life? Wasn't it better to fish in troubled waters? Under Mendo's lead, the mountain-shaking apes, who were already prepared, roared and charged into the forest outside. Lin Yuan also slowly wriggled his snake body, following behind the mountain-shaking apes. Wisdom realm demonic beasts had a common ability: they could freely control the size of their bodies. Even though they couldn't be smaller than normal beasts, they were still much more concealed than giant beasts that were hundreds of meters tall. Even though their strength would decrease after shrinking, they could still switch into their giant beast form whenever they wanted to in battle. It couldn't be any more convenient. During this wave of sneak attacks, Lin Yuan couldn't show up at Will before they fought with the 3 major clans in Mendu. He was afraid that he would expose this sneak attack. Chapter 81. Apes were omnivorous animals. In terms of aggression, they were not as aggressive as those pure carnivorous animals. However, it was almost impossible to find a better hunter than them in the jungle. Hundreds of mountain-shaking apes swept into the jungle in front of Lin Yuan. It was like a clay ox entering the sea. They did not even make the slightest sound, as if they had directly merged with the jungle. Lin Yuan walked and stopped. His pair of blue and white vertical pupils looked at the mountain in the distance. His mind was spinning rapidly, thinking about what kind of response the allied forces of the 3 clans would make after being attacked by the Shattering Stone clan. Fight to the death. Abandon the enemy to survive. As his thoughts spread out, Lin Yuan closed his eyes again and began to carefully observe the map. About 5 minutes later, a black fox patrolling the jungle quietly hid under a big tree. It lazily narrowed its eyes, as if it was preparing to take a nap and pass this difficult time. However, it did not notice that a pair of black eyes suddenly lit up in the crown of the big tree it was leaning against. Meng Do looked around. After confirming that there were no other demonic beasts in the surroundings, it used its legs to clamp down on the tree trunk and slowly slid down. A pair of large hands covered in silver fur slowly reached down and grabbed the neck of the black fox at lightning speed. Without waiting for the black fox to react, it directly twisted its neck. Dragging its dead body, it climbed back into the crown of the tree and hid, quietly waiting for the next prey. In its eyes, the allied forces of the 3 clans were nothing more than a motley crowd. Almost all of the black foxes patrolling the jungle were the Hunting Wind clan's black foxes. It was very obvious that Blizzard and Qin Yan did not expect the Shattering Stone clan to take the initiative to attack. They also did not believe that this method of hiding under the light from the humans would be so clumsy. Instead of letting the demonic beasts under their command patrol, it was better to let them recuperate on the mountain and wait for the opportunity to immediately attack the Shattering Stone clan. Ha! Mendo sneered and gestured with his hand. Then, he quickly leaped onto another tree and approached the campsite of the 3 great clans in a careful but not slow manner. Following Mandu's movements, more and more mountain-shaking apes jumped between the trees. These apes, which were not thin and weak, were as nimble as a gust of wind. As they moved, there was not even the slightest bit of movement. Even when they jumped from one tree to another, not even a single leaf fell from the tree. In just 5 minutes, the number of black foxes that had been killed by the mountain-shaking apes was in the double digits. Although most of them were only level 7 beasts and could not determine the outcome of the battle, it was enough to make the Hunterwind clan feel the pinch. At the same time, in the camp on the mountain, Blizzard was lying on a tiger pelt. He squinted his eyes lazily and said in a deep voice, "My spies have confirmed that Mandu and the Black Snake are holding a ceremony for the old ape's funeral. In my opinion, we should take advantage of this opportunity to take a bite out of the Gravel clan. As time drags on, they may be prepared." Ping Qiu furrowed his brows and did not say anything. In his eyes, Blizzard was just a brute who did whatever he wanted. He was so naive to think that after the death of the three-eyed ape, the Gravel clan would be so weak that they could not withstand a single blow. He was probably already dreaming of becoming the overlord of this area. After a while, Ping Qiu suddenly patted his head with his claws and said with a gloomy face, "Not good. I'm afraid Mandu has already brought his underlings to our campsite." "What nonsense are you talking about?" Blizzard chuckled coldly and mocked, "Ping Qiu, are you still in a dream? The old ape of the Gravel clan is dead and they are busy with the funeral. I've already arranged for White Claw to bring a group of intelligence perception demonic beasts to investigate the situation. It won't be long before the news of the old ape's death reaches us. Do you still think the Gravel clan has a chance to fight back? With just them?" "Shut up." Before Blizzard could finish, Chen Yan, who was also lying on the ground, suddenly stood up and interrupted Blizzard. Although he was not as resourceful as Ping Qiu, the Xian Turtle clan's talent was psychic divination. With his cultivation, he could not see the past or the future. However, he had a keen sense of danger in the face of life and death. The moment Ping Qiu spoke, he felt a great sense of danger. Clan leader, Black Snake. Black Snake and the apes of the Gravel clan have rushed into the campsite. A black fox with glossy fur scrambled to the front of the 3 clan leaders. There was a trace of panic on his face. There were more than 30 black foxes patrolling at the foot of the mountain. They did not even give out a warning. When they noticed the mountain-shaking apes, they had already killed their way into the campsite. "How dare you!" Blizzard roared and scolded, "Weren't you patrolling at the foot of the mountain? Why didn't you send any message and let them rush into the campsite? Are all of you incompetent people? I think you guys are the ones who lured those mountain-shaking apes here. This king will kill you today and then fight off those mountain-shaking apes." Blizzard. With a dark face, Ping Qiu roared, "Don't blame your stupidity and mistakes on other people. If you were willing to listen to me and arrange your demon beasts to patrol with the young men of the Hunting Wind clan, how could the situation have developed to this point? What is the meaning of this? Are you planning to tear my Hunterwind clan's men into pieces as a sacrifice to your flag? Do you want me to stretch my head out and let you kill me as a sacrifice?" Blizzard and Ping Qiu, the 2 beast kings who had formed a temporary alliance, had not even seen a single demon beast from the Gravel clan. They were already on the verge of falling out with each other. A black fox and a frost wolf tensed up their muscles and their hair stood on end. They looked at each other and began to walk in circles. Occasionally, they would raise their sharp claws as if they were ready to attack at any time. "Let's fight first." Chen Yan spoke again in a low muffled voice and took the initiative to be the peacemaker. The 3 clans were originally a temporary alliance. Once the Gravel clan was defeated, they would immediately fall out with each other and decide the final winner to become the new overlord of this area. But, that was a matter for the future. Let alone falling apart, even if the 3 clans lost any one of their forces, they would not be able to compete with the Gravel clan. During the Three-Eyed Apes era, if the phase in this area were to be divided into 4 portions, the Shatterstone clan would take away 2 portions, and the remaining 2 portions would be split among the 3 clans. Therefore, as time passed, the strength gap between the 2 clans had gradually widened to the current state. Chapter 82. Lin Yuan followed behind the main force of the Stony Stone clan. From time to time, he would launch a tail attack, whipping the demonic beasts that had adjusted their condition to meet the attack. The weaker demonic beasts couldn't even withstand a tail attack from Lin Yuan and were directly turned into a pile of minced meat. However, demonic beasts of this level obviously couldn't provide Lin Yuan with attribute points. A pair of blue-white vertical pupils swept around, and the forms of demonic beasts flashed through Lin Yuan's mind. Not a single demonic beast of level 9 or above. It doesn't make sense. The allied forces of the 3 clans can't be so weak. Lin Yuan revealed a touch of a thoughtful look. The combined forces of the 3 clans could be equal to the Stony Stone clan, so there must be a lot of powerful demonic beasts. However, until now, the allied forces of the 3 clans had been attacked by the mountain-shaking apes, but not a single demonic beast of level 9 or above had appeared. It was as if the 3 clans had abandoned this place. Ding! Detected a level 9 demonic beast approaching 1,500 meters ahead. Ding! Detected a level 10 demonic beast approaching 1,500 meters ahead. Ding! Detected ahead. A series of system prompts sounded in Lin Yuan's mind. Lin Yuan was slightly startled. He subconsciously raised his head and looked at the black mass in front of him. These demonic beasts were actually playing the art of war. After the first round of killing, the mountain-shaking apes obviously didn't put the demonic beasts of the 3 clans in their eyes. The moment they saw these high-level demonic beasts appear, the bad-tempered mountain-shaking apes immediately roared. Without any hesitation or fear, they waved the stone sticks in their hands and counterattacked. When 2 armies were fighting, the formation was undoubtedly very important. Previously, when fighting for the blood spirit, 5 human soldiers wearing heavy armor could trap a wisdom state demonic beast. Although the demon beasts couldn't play with those 2 complicated things, it was not a problem for them to simply draw tigers and dogs. So Lin Yuan saw that the demon beasts were not as good as the mountain-shaking apes, but they were several times more in number. They scattered in 2s and 3s, dividing the mountain-shaking apes into small battle formations. On average, 3 or 4 demon beasts dealt with 1 mountain-shaking ape. Every time the mountain-shaking ape launched an attack, it would be attacked by 3 or 4 demon beasts at the same time. That's right, there was almost no defense to speak of. As long as the mountain-shaking ape dared to attack, they would attack at the first moment. It was a completely life-or-death battle. Gather. Regroup. Lin Yuan swung his serpentine tail as he roamed the battlefield. From time to time, he would destroy the enemy's formation and rescue the trapped mountain-shaking apes. Then, he signaled for them to follow behind him as they pushed deeper into the forest. As for those mountain-shaking apes that were further away and heavily injured, Lin Yuan didn't even spare them a glance. How could there be no sacrifices in war? Moreover, this was a war that he could not afford to lose. Na Qin, where's Mendu? Lin Yuan used his serpentine tail to shatter the shell of a level 9 black tortoise. After making sure that the tortoise was dead on the spot, he turned his head to look at the mountain-shaking ape that had been following him all this time. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing a level 9 black tortoise with a tail attack. You have gained 0.5 attribute points. The system's notification sounded. It was better than nothing. Brother Mendu has already led a group of elites to kill their way in. He said that he wants to go directly to the 3 beast kings to settle the score. Lin Yuan's serpentine body trembled slightly as he felt a bitter taste in his mouth. Mendu was an outstanding fighter and also a reliable ally. Under normal circumstances, Mendu's intelligence was definitely not inferior to that of an adult human. At most, he just lacked some experience. However, Mendu had a very violent temper. Sometimes, when his temper flared up, not to mention Lin Yuan, even the three-eyed ape might not be able to hold him back. The way these demonic beasts ambushed them had thoroughly angered Mendu. Therefore, Mendu chose to ignore the original plan and led his elites to find trouble with the three beast kings. Roar! Black Snake, your time of death has come. On the other side of the battlefield, a figure with a low, muffled voice suddenly sounded out. Rumble! Rumble! Immediately after, a huge black tortoise that was around 150 meters tall slowly appeared in Lin Yuan's line of sight. Looking at the opponent's thick, hard shell, Lin Yuan subconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His reputation in this area was simply too great. Even the blizzard was tarnishing his reputation. Therefore, when the real battle began, there would definitely be powerful demonic beasts looking for him. Lin Yuan had considered all of his opponents. The only one he hadn't considered was the leader of the Boulder tribe, Qin Yan. It wasn't that Lin Yuan was arrogant, nor was it that he didn't think highly of Qin Yan. It was just that when facing the other two beast kings, after activating the blood boil technique, Lin Yuan could still put up a fight. However, when facing Qin Yan, other than running away, Lin Yuan couldn't think of any other way to deal with him. As long as this giant tortoise shrank into its turtle shell, it would be able to endure the 3-minute boost from Lin Yuan's boiling blood technique. Then, it would be able to easily kill Lin Yuan with its wisdom realm strength. Black Snake, I know what you're thinking. Unfortunately, against two demonic beasts of the same cultivation level, Mendu is useless no matter how strong it is. Even if it can deal with the blizzard and Ping Qiu, it definitely won't be able to help you in a short period of time. Once I devour you, I will definitely be able to advance further. At that time, it will be easy for me to deal with the blizzard and Ping Qiu. Qin Yan laughed coldly. He looked at Lin Yuan with a burning gaze, his eyes full of greed. Blizzard and Ping Qiu both wanted to destroy the Stone Tribe so that their own tribe could become the overlord of this area. However, they were both mistaken about one thing. Right now, the most valuable thing in this area was definitely not the title of overlord. It was this black snake. This black snake had dragon blood in its body. Although it didn't know who the black snake's parents were, it could sense that Lin Yuan's body contained an incomparably dense amount of dragon blood. Tortoises and snakes seemed to be two different types of demonic beasts, but according to legends, they had the same ancestor, the dragon. Regardless of whether it was the 9 sons of the dragon described in the legends that Lin Yuan had heard of in his previous life, or the black tortoise, one of the 4 legendary demonic beasts, they were all tortoise demonic beasts. However, they all had dragon blood flowing in their bodies. The water dragon blood in Lin Yuan's body could not only attract other demonic beasts, but also Lin Yuan's blood. This was also the main reason why Qin Yan immediately ran out to look for Lin Yuan while the blizzard and Ping Qiu were busy dealing with Mendu in the Hengduan mountain range, where natural selection prevailed. Even the most simple-looking creatures would become purely selfish as long as they lived long enough. Chapter 83. Life was like chocolate. You would never know what the next piece would taste like. The moment he was stared at by Qin Yan, Lin Yuan felt as if he had eaten sh*t. But reality proved that even though Qin Yan was eyeing the water dragon bloodline in his body, the system was also eyeing Qin Yan. Ding! The host is facing a life and death crisis, triggering the special mission, Cicada Intestine Turtle Belly. Name, Cicada Intestine Turtle Belly. Description: a demonic turtle with a thin dragon bloodline is eyeing the water dragon bloodline in your body. And to you who is destined to become the master of all beasts, this is undoubtedly a huge humiliation. Go, fight. Tell this demonic turtle what a true dragon is. Mission requirement, kill Qin Yan. Mission restriction, cannot leave the battle on your own accord. Mission reward, randomly draw a system template. Failure punishment, death. What a coincidence, I also feel that after swallowing you, I can also advance a step. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a faint cold light. Tail strike close distance. Death coil adjust body. The moment Lin Yuan's voice fell, the huge snake body had already wrapped around Qin Yan's body. But no matter how Lin Yuan retracted his snake body, he was unable to cause any damage to Qin Yan's turtle shell. You want to hurt me with just you? Qin Yan was caught off guard by Lin Yuan's sudden attack. At the beginning, he was still a bit flustered. After all, according to the legends, Lin Yuan killed an intelligent state demonic beast with the strength of a level 10 demonic beast. But after Lin Yuan's attack failed, the nervousness in Qin Yan's eyes completely disappeared. Rumors were after all just rumors. He didn't see it with his own eyes. Who knew if Lin Yuan really killed an intelligent state demonic beast? However, Qin Yan did not act like a fool. Seeing that Lin Yuan was unable to break through his defense, he did not have the intention to play around and allow Lin Yuan to attack him as he wished. Instead, he erupted with the agility that did not belong to a tortoise-type demon beast. He directly retracted his head, tail, and forelimbs into the tortoise shell, and then frantically spun out like a spinning top. Lin Yuan was wrapped around Qin Yan's tortoise shell, spinning crazily with Qin Yan. In a short moment, Lin Yuan felt dizzy, and a few golden stars appeared in front of his eyes. Half of his vision turned black, and his head kept shaking. Although Lin Yuan's entanglement couldn't hurt Qin Yan, it didn't mean that Qin Yan couldn't feel it at all. As Lin Yuan entered the dizzy state, Qin Yan could clearly feel that the snake that was strangling him loosened a little. Instantly, he was overjoyed. He immediately controlled the rotating tortoise body and slammed it into the trees and rocks beside him, just like how Lin Yuan had killed those human warriors wrapped in heavy armor. How terrifying was the strength of an intelligence realm demon beast. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yuan had already slammed into the tortoise more than 10 times. Although he resisted the dizziness and activated the golden body secrets, the places that were not covered by the golden body secrets were still smashed into a bloody mess. Even in the dizziness state, Lin Yuan could clearly feel the pain. It was as if half of his organs had been smashed. Lin Yuan could even feel that his life was flowing away. Boom! Once again, he landed heavily on the ground. Lin Yuan opened his bloody mouth and spat out a large mouthful of blood, mixed with countless pieces of flesh and fragments of organs. Little black snake, you don't seem to be able to make it. He. Qin Yan glanced at Lin Yuan from the corner of his eyes, his mouth continuously laughing coldly. Lin Yuan was silent and did not say a word. His pair of blue-white vertical pupils were slightly blank, as if he was thinking about something. Seeing Lin Yuan's absent-minded appearance, Qin Yan did not know why a nameless fire rose up in his heart. At this time, this black snake was firmly suppressed by him, but not only did it not concentrate all of its attention to fight with him, it even had an indifferent appearance. He could not help but ask in a low voice, "Black snake, what are you thinking about?" "I'm thinking, how you will die." In Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils, a cold light suddenly flashed. In the next moment, the snake's body was like a black pillar, suddenly opening its bloody mouth and biting the head of Qin Yan, who was hiding in the tortoise shell. Furthermore, it crazily injected its own venom into the wound. "You're courting death." Qin Yan roared angrily and similarly opened his mouth, biting Lin Yuan's neck. One snake and one tortoise, like this, were in a strange stalemate. The surrounding demonic beasts looked at each other, but no one dared to provoke these two behemoths. The real elites were fighting with Mendu City. Other than Qin Yan, most of the people gathered here were cannon fodder that Ping Qiu had arranged beforehand. Naturally, they did not dare to provoke the two big bosses at this time. The proficiency of the dove wine poison jumped wildly, but this amount of poison was obviously not enough to take the life of a huge monster like Qin Yan. Under the terrifying bite of the other party, Lin Yuan's dark golden snake body, which had been tempered by the golden body technique, kept creaking. Friendly reminder, the golden body technique has previously reached the small perfection realm. Although the host is now not far from the great perfection realm, the system feels that the host can temporarily put the attribute points aside in the face of danger. Does the host wish to advance the golden body technique in advance? The system's voice rang in his ear like a sudden clap of thunder, instantly waking Lin Yuan up. What the hell? You're waiting for me here. Lin Yuan clearly remembered the system's last meaningful tone. This B***starred must have planned for this day, right? Creak, creak, the grinding sounds that made one's teeth ache continued to ring in their ears. Lin Yuan's face was ashen. He gritted his teeth and said, "System, advance the golden body technique for me." The moment he said that, Lin Yuan felt a warm current flowing around his body. The original dark golden color was instantly transformed into a light gold color. Although the color was still not good-looking, compared to the dirty dark golden color he had before, the light gold color now was obviously more pleasing to the eye. Looking good was secondary. The main thing was that Lin Yuan's defense had increased by another level. With the help of the dragon scale armor, Lin Yuan's defense was definitely not as strong as the black tortoises, but it was definitely not a match for him among the level 10 monsters. The second level of the golden body technique gave him a 45% damage reduction effect, and the screeching sound came to an abrupt end. Did it advance? Chen Yan's face sank, and he began to ponder. No monster would suddenly become stronger. The black snake's transformation clearly came from its advancement. Intelligent perception monsters were not as easy to distinguish as level 1 to level 10 monsters. If a monster at this stage wanted to distinguish between friend and foe, it could only use its heart to feel the monster energy spreading out from the other party's body. Chapter 84. The two giant beasts were in a stalemate, biting each other, and neither was willing to let go. The terrifying bite force could easily kill an airborne realm human, but in front of the tyrannical physique of the monster, this bite force seemed to be laughably weak. Even if Lin Yuan and Qin Yan were frantically shaking their heads, trying to tear a piece of flesh from each other, both of their efforts were in vain. As time passed, Qin Yan's eyes suddenly flashed with a touch of horror. He had always thought that the rumor that this black snake had defeated the Wisdom Realm monster was just a rumor made up by the three-eyed ape in order to stabilize the situation in the Stoneclaw Forest. But now, he gradually began to believe it. In addition to the innate ability of divination, the Xian Turtle clan also had the terrifying defense that all turtle-type monsters had. Even if it left its hard shell, its skin could not be penetrated by anything. But Lin Yuan's snake fangs easily pierced into its flesh, and the pale golden scales on the black snake's body seemed to be not inferior to its shell in terms of defense. Ding! The Wisdom Realm monster Qin Yan is afraid. Does the host choose to end this battle? Friendly reminder, if the host ends this battle now, it will not be considered as taking the initiative to leave the battle. The mission will be cancelled, and the host will not be given any punishment or reward. The system's electronically synthesized voice slowly sounded. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a touch of ridicule. The so-called Beast King, it was just a so-so. He knew what Qin Yan was afraid of. After all, even if Pingqiu and Blizzard joined forces, they might not be able to take down Mendu. If he could not take down Lin Yuan in a short time, the top combat power of the three clans' allied forces would be restrained. In the previous wave of the White Claw, they had lost more than 20 Wisdom Realm monsters. Their current military strength could not be compared to the Stoneclaw clan at all. The longer the battle dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for the three clans. But the problem was, give up now. If it was before the system issued the quest, Lin Yuan might have chosen not to fight Qin Yan head-on. After all, facing a monster like him that specialized in defense, Lin Yuan would not be able to gain any advantage. However, now that he had suffered a loss, even the golden body technique had advanced in advance. In the future, if he wanted to use attribute points to strengthen the golden body technique, he would have to pay an additional attribute point as a price. If he did not obtain the system reward of a template draw, then he would have suffered a great loss. In that split second, Qin Yan actually took the initiative to let go of his mouth, allowing Lin Yuan to bite his head. He said in a muffled voice, "Black Snake, the war between the three clans and the Shattered Stone clan has nothing to do with you. Why do you want to stay here and risk your life against me? How about this? You let go of me, and after we defeat the Gravel clan, I will guarantee that you can establish your own force in this area. How about it?" Lin Yuan sneered in his heart, and continued to inject the dove wine poison into Qin Yan. When fighting monsters of a higher level, the speed of increase in proficiency would also increase significantly. Every time Lin Yuan's poison sac secreted poison, the proficiency on the attribute panel would jump around 3 to 5 points. Therefore, Lin Yuan firmly believed that even if his poison had no effect on Qin Yan, as long as he persevered, he would be able to poison Qin Yan to death sooner or later. He did not believe that with only a difference of a large level, Qin Yan could withstand the second advancement of the poison. If that was the case, was there still a need for poisonous snake monsters to exist? Good. It seems that you are determined to be enemies with me. Then, don't blame me. Qin Yan saw that Lin Yuan had no intention of stopping, and his eyes did not show any shame or anger. He did not open his mouth again like Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan was wrapped in the scales of the golden body technique, but his 4 feet fiercely stomped on the ground. Boom! A loud sound spread out for hundreds of meters, and it was still reverberating. With Lin Yuan and Qin Yan as the center, the land within hundreds of meters collapsed for nearly 1,000 meters out of thin air. Within this range, whether it was the demonic beasts under the command of the 3 major clans or the mountain-shaking apes that followed Lin Yuan to break out of the encirclement, as long as they fell, they would directly turn into meat paste. Moreover, they would not fall to their deaths. At this level of monsters, as long as their bodies spread out, they would be more than 100 meters long. A mere 1,000 meters was not enough to kill these naturally strong monsters. What really killed them were the earth spikes that extended from the broken soil. Even if it was a 10th level monster, under the cutting of the earth spikes, their skin would be as fragile as white paper. Fresh blood, minced meat, and internal organs covered the bottom of this sinkhole. Lin Yuan maintained the posture of biting Qin Yan, and followed Qin Yan to the bottom of the sinkhole. Those sharp earth spikes cut Lin Yuan's body, which was not covered by the golden body technique, full of holes. There were even dozens of earth spikes that penetrated Lin Yuan's pitch-black snake body. Even the scales of the flood dragon could not withstand their penetration. Ha, a little interesting. You can actually withstand my heaven-falling earth-sinking strike. Your flesh and blood must be very delicious. Qin Yan licked his lips with his tongue, and said in a cruel tone, "This is a talent that I have painstakingly cultivated. I can only use it once every 3 days. Originally, I wanted to leave it for that damn monkey in Mendu, but using it on you is not too much of a waste. I gave you a chance just now, but you did not cherish it. Now." As Qin Yan's voice fell, the 4 walls of earth began to slowly move, as if they wanted to bury Qin Yan and Lin Yuan alive. However, Qin Yan was after all an earth attribute monster. Even if he was buried underground, he would be able to move freely for a short period of time like a fish in water. But Lin Yuan... Ha ha! Qin Yan looked at Lin Yuan who was biting him, and the greed in his eyes became more and more intense. It was as if Lin Yuan had become a delicacy in his eyes. The rain came. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils did not waver. Being buried alive in the sinkhole, that suffocation could easily take his life. However, Lin Yuan did not think that Qin Yan would live long enough to take his life. The moment the blood sacrifice wishing technique was activated, Qin Yan suddenly realized that whether it was his own blood, Lin Yuan's blood, or even the blood of the monsters that died in the sinkhole, all of it was instantly sucked clean by some strange force. Not even a trace of blood was left. Rumble, rumble, the clear sky was suddenly covered by dark clouds. Thick bolts of lightning struck down, turning the forest into a charred black color. However, before the mountain fire could spread, a downpour had already followed. Moreover, it was a terrifying downpour. In just a few breaths of time, the water in the sinkhole had already reached the top of Qin Yan's feet. If it had to be converted to an exact distance, it would be a height of about 3 to 4 meters. Chapter 85. Humph. Qin Yan snorted coldly. He heard that the last time Lin Yuan killed an intelligence perception demonic beast, there was also a rainstorm. Originally, he thought that it was just a coincidence, but now, how could he not guess that the two rainstorms were summoned by Lin Yuan? Summoning the clouds and summoning the rain did not sound like much. After all, no matter how heavy the rain was, it could not smash or drown the opponent. But with this kind of talent, to demonic beasts, the difference was like the difference between clouds and mud. Don't look at how humans crazily hunted demonic beasts, using the demonic beast's flesh and demonic beast core as capital to become stronger. However, when faced with a demonic beast that could summon clouds and summon rain, even the monarchs of the 7 great dynasties had to be somewhat courteous. They might even have to carve out a portion of their own territory and worship this demonic beast as the local god, allowing this demonic beast to protect the land and ensure that drought would not affect the farming and harvest of the land. The worship of the human dynasties was secondary. Qin Yan, who came from a large clan, was very clear that those demonic beasts that received the worship could really be reaped. The term god was very distant from demonic beasts, but after receiving the worship, the demonic beast's cultivation speed would rapidly increase. The more believers there were, the faster their cultivation speed would be. Therefore, any talent that could protect the land and water of a living being was envied by countless demonic beasts. Lin Yuan did not know what Qin Yan was thinking. Even if he knew, he would not care. Summoning the clouds and summoning the rain was a skill of the dragon clan. Even a flood dragon could do it easily. The previous rain took away a third of Lin Yuan's blood. But this rain, with the bloodline of the flood dragon, only took away a seventh of Lin Yuan's blood. In addition to the other blood sacrifices, the scale of this rain was several times larger than the previous rain. In the legends of his previous life, there was the existence of the heavenly law that restricted the dragon clan. For example, if the heavenly court wanted a place to suffer from a drought, if the local dragon king reigned, he would be captured by the heavenly soldiers and executed. But in this world, as long as Lin Yuan was willing, he could summon the rain at any time, or block the rain that was about to fall. Eat you, as long as I eat you, all of this will be mine. Qin Yan's eyes turned red from jealousy, and even his voice became ferocious. The crazed Qin Yan even forgot to reserve any energy to deal with sudden situations. His eyes were red as he looked at Lin Yuan. The speed of the earth wall closing in on him increased dramatically, as if it could not wait any longer. You're crazy. Lin Yuan glanced at Qin Yan from the corner of his eyes. He took the initiative to let go of Qin Yan and retreated 2 meters. Qin Yan glanced at Lin Yuan, who suddenly retreated, and said in a low voice, "Black Snake, save it. I know what you're planning. However, my Xian Turtle clan is also an aquatic demonic beast. Even if you fill this sinkhole with rainwater, I can still come and go as I please. The rainwater had accumulated to a depth of more than 30 meters at the bottom of the sinkhole, almost covering 1/5 of Qin Yan's body. The earth wall had already come into contact with Lin Yuan's snake tail, but those sharp earth spikes didn't succeed in piercing through Lin Yuan's second-order golden body technique. Bang! Soil flew everywhere. The earth wall behind him was smashed into pieces by Lin Yuan's tail. Although it didn't completely collapse, large amounts of soil had already fallen down, dyeing the water in the sinkhole a murky color. A pair of blue-white vertical pupils slowly looked up. Lin Yuan opened his mouth and lightly flicked out his snake tongue. He slowly asked with his mind, if the water can't kill you, then, what about ice? Ice? What ice? Qin Yan was slightly startled and didn't react. In the next moment, the 30-meter deep water was lifted up by an invisible hand and instantly formed into a water ball, directly enveloping Qin Yan. Before Qin Yan could break out of the water, traces of white cold air, visible to the naked eye, spread out in all directions with the water ball as the center. Crack, crack, the huge water ball, in the blink of an eye, turned into a huge ice ball and directly enveloped Qin Yan. Innate talents weren't skills with fixed damage. Those skills would only improve by leaps and bounds when they were upgraded. However, innate abilities were different. When Lin Yuan became stronger, his innate ability would also become stronger. When he first planned to freeze Batu, he was still a Class 7 monster. Now, he was already a Class 10 monster. If the battle between him and Batu was repeated, he only needed a thought to easily freeze Batu to death. If Qin Yan was in his peak state, even if Lin Yuan used ice to control him, it would be useless. This was because he only needed to shake his body slightly to easily shatter the ice around him. However, at this moment, a large amount of poison had accumulated in Qin Yan's body. Although it wasn't fatal, if it wasn't expelled, it would still have some effect on his body. In addition, he released the Collapse of Heaven and Earth ability to instantly kill hundreds of monsters. Although it seemed very powerful, this kind of terrifying area of effect ability was often accompanied by an intense consumption of energy. Otherwise, Qin Yan naturally wouldn't have been affected in the battle and directly become crazy. Kacha, kacha, the sound rang out once again, and cracks gradually appeared on the ice ball that was controlling Qin Yan. Lin Yuan didn't reveal the slightest trace of panic. On the contrary, there was only a faint ridicule in his eyes. It was as if he had already grasped victory in his hands. The terrifying rainstorm continued. When it fell on the bodies of other monsters, it would instantly wet their fur. Even some of the more agile frost wolves and black foxes began to become clumsy under this kind of storm. However, the mountain-shaking apes were obviously not used to this kind of weather. Although the rain couldn't harm them, they couldn't even open their eyes in this kind of environment. They could only follow their instincts and wave the stone sticks in their hands. Fortunately, after Lin Yuan and Qin Yan disappeared from the battlefield, the mountain-shaking apes behind Lin Yuan once again followed their instincts and spread out to fight with the monsters of the three clans. Previously, the mountain-shaking apes gathered together because Lin Yuan took the lead. According to their battle habits, they still liked to spread out to different positions. After all, if their companions stood too close to each other, the stone sticks in their hands wouldn't be able to be used. And when the rainwater fell into the pit, it would turn into pieces of ice. It would attach to the huge ice ball in front of Lin Yuan and continue to strengthen the ice ball's control. No matter how Qin Yan crashed into the ice ball, the outer layer of ice would become thicker and thicker. Roar! Qin Yan roared angrily. Gathering all his strength, he chose a direction and suddenly launched a collision. This time, the ice ball didn't have time to control Qin Yan. He forcibly broke a hole in the ice ball. Half of the tortoise's body was once again exposed to the air. Chapter 86. Whoosh. Poochie. Without giving Qin Yan a chance to catch his breath, the pale golden snake tail suddenly shot out and pierced into Qin Yan's left eye. Qin Yan's face was filled with disbelief. To Lin Yuan, the innate ability to control ice was not like the magic in novels, where he could just throw it out after chanting an incantation. It was more like an extension of his body, so all of Qin Yan's movements within the ice ball were within Lin Yuan's control. Although he did not continue to control Qin Yan, Lin Yuan was still able to see where Qin Yan would break out of the ice ball. The eyes are the weakness of any living creature, because no matter how hard your bones are, there will still be holes. Behind the eyeball is a thin layer of flesh and mucous membrane, where the optic nerve is located. I only need to increase my strength by a little bit and I will be able to pierce through this layer of obstruction, directly turning your brain into paste. I'm very curious, for a powerful beast king like you, after having your brain turned into paste by me, will you be able to live? Lin Yuan maintained his posture of piercing Qin Yan's eye with his snake tail, and his mouth once again cracked open, revealing a smile. A human-like smile, but it made Qin Yan feel as if he had fallen into an ice cave. When he was just being controlled in the ice ball, the surrounding cold air did not make him feel cold at all, but this smile of Lin Yuan's made his whole body tremble like a sieve. Don't. No. I am willing to serve you as my master. Please let me go. Qin Yan's voice became louder and louder, his breathing became more and more hurried, and in the end, he was almost shouting hysterically. He indeed coveted Lin Yuan's flesh and the dragon blood in his body, but this did not mean that he was willing to give up his life for a good meal. In a true life and death situation, no living creature would be able to disregard life and death. Perhaps there were a few monsters who could hide such emotions, but obviously, Qin Yan was not one of them. Ding! Congratulations, host, an intelligent state demonic beast has pledged loyalty to you, do you accept? The system's voice directly sounded in Lin Yuan's mind, and even the thunder in the sky could not block it. System, do you have any suggestions? Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a hint of surprise. The system fell silent. Lin Yuan looked at Qin Yan thoughtfully, a hesitant expression appearing in his blue-white vertical pupils. The lifespan of a tortoise-type demon beast was extremely long. Even though Qin Yan, Blizzard, and Pingqiu were all beast kings, it had probably lived in the Stoneclaw Forest for a longer period of time than the three-eyed ape. Furthermore, it had the strength of the peak of the wisdom realm. If he could obtain Qin Yan's loyalty, Lin Yuan would be able to take a huge step forward in establishing his own force. However, defeating Qin Yan this time was mostly due to luck. If Qin Yan's submission was only a temporary measure, then the next time they fought, Lin Yuan might not be able to subdue a beast king of Qin Yan's level. Sorry, I don't need it. Lin Yuan's gaze suddenly became resolute. In the next moment, his pale golden snake tail suddenly thrust forward and pierced deeply into Qin Yan's skull, crushing his brain that had lost its protection. The Xian turtle beast king that had resided in the Stonedland forest for an unknown number of years lost its life force completely at this moment. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the special mission, Cicada's Guts and Turtle's Belly. Calculating the reward. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a random system template item X1. At the same time the system broadcast sounded, Lin Yuan also pulled out his snake tail. A Beast King's smile was indeed very attractive to him, but in the face of the system's promise of a random system template item, whether Qin Yan was truly loyal or not, it didn't seem that important. With the help of the damned system, Lin Yuan's own strength was the true strength. He couldn't expect Qin Yan to risk his life to help him when the system gave him a mission, could he? System, directly use the template item. I want a new function now. Lin Yuan didn't hesitate for a moment and directly used the item. Template item is being extracted, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a system template, territory. There wasn't a turntable like he had imagined, not even a light spot. When the item was removed from his backpack, Lin Yuan had already obtained his new function. The corner of Lin Yuan's eyes twitched as he let out a long sigh. He had still somewhat underestimated the system. This bastard thing was even more shameless than he had imagined. Following the appearance of the relationship and war templates one after another, Lin Yuan had a faint premonition in his heart that the appearance of the territory template was only a matter of time. Even when the promotion mission was completed, there was a possibility that he would be rewarded with a territory template item. But at this moment, the template was directly extracted by him. If this wasn't the system's manipulation, Lin Yuan would have already performed a wave of handstand shampoo. As for what function this template had, Lin Yuan didn't know at the moment, nor did he have the opportunity to find out. After all, the current him didn't even have a territory. The outer area of the beast forest could only be considered as a nest and not a territory. Under his command, there were no clans like the 4 major clans of the Stoneclaw Forest to fight for him. At most, there was only one Batu. It could bully the low-level beasts in the beast forest, but in a battlefield like this, it was completely a cannon fodder-level existence. Hiss! The snake spat out its tongue. Long ice swords violently swept out, instantly crushing the earth spikes on the surrounding earth walls. Then, the ice cubes formed a huge throne under Lin Yuan's body, slowly lifting him up from the 1,000-meter deep pit. Black Snake. It's the Black Snake. In the curtain of rain, some of the more tyrannical beasts looked at Lin Yuan in disbelief. After all, regardless of shape or size, the difference between the Black Snake and the Black Tortoise was not small. Lin Yuan had once again returned to this battlefield, but Qin Yan had already completely disappeared. Although they didn't know what happened in the Heaven Pit, they were very clear that the Black Snake was the final victor between the two. A 10th-grade demonic beast first killed an Intelligence Enlightenment Stage Dove Snake, and today, he actually killed an Intelligence Enlightenment Stage Black Tortoise. When did a 10th-grade demonic beast become so tyrannical? Those who surrender will be spared from death. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged on the ice throne. His blue-white vertical pupils were not affected by the curtain of rain in the slightest. They coldly swept across the demonic beasts that were still fighting. Following his gaze, the demonic beasts of the 3 great clans all lay on the ground, as if they didn't dare to challenge the dignity of their king. A peak intelligence enlightenment stage beast king had died in the hands of the Black Snake. The strongest among them was merely a 10th grade demonic beast. What right did they have to clamor with Lin Yuan? Not Qin, you're in charge of guarding the captives. The wounded, go back. Also, inform the wise ones to come and clean up the mess. Another batch of demonic beasts that can still fight, come with me. We'll go and help them. Lin Yuan's voice wasn't loud, but when it fell into the ears of the demonic beasts, it was as if even the sound of thunder and rain was suppressed. Very soon, there will be an explosive update event. At that time, there will be at least 8 chapters a day. Right now, I'm collecting chapters. Everyone, please be patient. Thank you very much. Chapter 87. Mountain Blocking City, City Lord Mansion. A middle-aged man with sinister eyes slowly raised his head. His long and narrow peach blossom eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at Tai Shou, who was standing at the door of his study room. He said in a dignified tone, Captain Tai said that a war involving 4 clans has broken out in the Hengduan Mountains. Do you have any evidence? The 3-eyed ape of the Stony Stone clan is about to die. I don't think it's a secret. Under such circumstances, the Hunting Wind, Boulder, and Winterwolf clans are vying for the position of overlord. I don't think it's a secret either. In addition, there have been many Class 8 to Class 10 demonic beasts in the demonic beast forest near the Stoneclaw Forest recently. It's obvious that something has happened in the Stoneclaw Forest. With so many signs, why is the city lord still asking me for evidence? Tai Shou raised his eyebrows and said in a contemptuous tone, I heard that the imperial court transferred the city lord here to wash away the shame of signing the treaty back then and bring the outer region of the Hingduan Mountains back into the hunting range of our dynasty. Now, you don't cherish such a good opportunity. Could it be that the city lord still wants to rest and recuperate? The city lord's face sank, but he didn't refute. He only frowned slightly and asked, Captain Tai, are you teaching me how to do things? This commoner doesn't dare. Tai Shou smiled and cupped his hands, I'm just teaching the city lord how to deal with demonic beasts. You. The city lord suddenly stood up, his gaze becoming increasingly sinister. Facing a Heaven Realm expert, Tai Shou wasn't afraid at all. He just said slowly, City Lord, I'm not asking you to take down the Stoneclaw Forest. As long as you agree to send troops to restrain the high-level demonic beasts that have fled into the demonic beast forest, I'll naturally bring my subordinates into the Stoneclaw Forest and wait for an opportunity to kill the beast kings of the 4 clans. There was no need to be too explicit when talking between smart people. The city lord had already reacted. Tai Shou was a demon slayer who made a living in the mountain-blocking city. Offending him would only bring more harm than good. However, he still chose to use such a tough attitude to request for the city lord to send troops. Obviously, Tai Shou had something important to do in the Hingduan Mountains. After pondering for a moment, the city lord slowly nodded his head and said in a deep voice, I will send troops to restrain the high-level demonic beasts in the periphery of the demonic beasts forest. But remember, if you don't get anything from this trip, you'll have to dig a hole in the Hingduan Mountains and bury yourself. It wasn't that he was intimidated by iron arms. It was just that the signs of war between the Stoneclaw Forest's 4 great clans were very obvious. As an imperial envoy sent by the imperial court to deal with the demonic beasts, if he didn't take any action at this time, the imperial court would definitely send someone to hold him accountable. It was even possible that he would be punished to the very end. Don't worry, City Lord. If I don't gain anything from this trip, I will bring my own head to see you. Tai Shou smiled and cupped his hands. His gaze landed on the city lord's long and narrow peach blossom eyes, but he was secretly puzzled in his heart. Ever since he left the Liu family, he had been unconscious at home for 3 days. Other than sending back the benefits that the Liu family had given him, he did not have any memories of that day. However, the killing intent in his heart towards that black snake had become increasingly obvious. If it was in the past, even if he had the guts as big as the sky, he would not dare to offend the city lord. But today, he did it so naturally that he felt a little strange. Half an hour later, a troop composed of heavily armored warriors, large shield soldiers, archers, and artillery slowly moved out of mountain-blocking city and plunged into the demonic beasts forest. All the demonic beasts that they encountered along the way were all killed. They only encountered a group of high-level demonic beasts after advancing for hundreds of miles. The 2 sides were divided by a river and began to enter a deadlock. However, neither side noticed that a team of 20 people, led by a figure in a black robe, was slowly making their way towards the Stoneclaw Forest along a small mountain path that was filled with thorns. 2 flowers bloomed, one on each side. Lin Yuan's gaze fell on all the demonic beasts that had chosen to bow their heads. They no longer dared to face the black snake that had killed Qin Yan. At the very least, before the outcome of the battle in Mendu was decided, they no longer dared to resist. Ding! There is a new message in the war template. Please check it. Suddenly, a cold electronic synthesized voice sounded in Lin Yuan's mind, directly suppressing the words that Lin Yuan had prepared to use to boost morale. He could only use his mind to activate the war template as if he had swallowed a fly. Force War Template, Name, Battle for the Stoneclaw Forest, Ongoing, Attackers, Winter Wolf, Crack, Rock, Extremely Weak, Defenders, Broken Stone, Black Water, Relatively Weak, Evaluation. you have obtained the initial advantage. In a spurt of energy, you have completely defeated the enemy. Victory reward. Receive 300 war points. Failure punishment. Pay 300 war points. Isn't this good? Is this dog system lying to me again? A trace of doubt flashed in Lin Yuan's eyes. Ding! 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 Feeling Lin Yuan's resentment, a red exclamation mark in the war template was jumping wildly. Lin Yuan tried to use his mind to tap on the jumping red exclamation mark. Suddenly, a new message appeared in front of Lin Yuan. Name: Black Snake Defense War Attackers, Lu Family of Mountain Blocking City, City Lord Mansion of Mountain Blocking City, Iron Hand Regiment, Yao Ming, Relatively Weak, Defenders, Blackwater, Demonic Beast Forest Temporary Alliance, Relatively Weak, Victory Reward, Receive 500 War Points. Failure Punishment, Pay 500 War Points. Note: this war is extremely special. The host cannot take the initiative to leave the war. The war will only end when the other party gives up, fails, or dies. The host must live well in this war to protect himself. What the hell? Lin Yuan almost vomited. Last time, he had only killed 2 Class 9 demonic beasts, and the City Lord Mansion of Mountain Blocking City's relationship with him had fallen by a lot. This time, after he killed Qin Yan, the City Lord Mansion of Mountain Blocking City actually joined forces with the Lu family and the Demon Subduing Master to suppress him. Could it be that Qin Yan was also a demonic beast reared by the City Lord Mansion? Could it be that the City Lord of Mountain Blocking City also had something like a system? Otherwise, how could the City Lord Mansion of Mountain Blocking City form an army to suppress him right after he killed Qin Yan? Even those high-level demonic beasts who had escaped the war and hid in the demonic beast forest did not know about this. How did the humans know? However, what did Yao Ming mean? For a moment, Lin Yuan could not determine whether Yao Ming was a demonic beast or simply the name of a certain force. However, judging from the current situation, the main force of this army should have been blocked by the high-level demonic beasts who had escaped from the demonic beast forest. However, he could not rule out the possibility that the other party would send experts to kill him. Chapter 88. Lin Yuan swung his snake tail in annoyance. With the help of the system, he had already confirmed that the humans had begun to attack the Hingduan mountain range and that they were coming for him. If it were any other time, the demonic beasts in the Hingduan mountain range would definitely join forces to deal with the humans. However, the 4 major clans were already in a frenzy and it was impossible for them to make peace, let alone join forces against a common enemy. In addition, Lin Yuan had no way to explain how he had received news that the humans from Mountain Blocking City had begun to move towards the Stoneclaw Forest. Therefore, Lin Yuan directly rejected the plan of joining forces with the 3 major clans to fight against the humans. Let's end this quickly. Before they arrive, we must wipe out the 3 major clans. Lin Yuan's eyes were cold as he wriggled his black snake body and began to wriggle towards the center of the temporary campsite. There were more than 10 Class 9 demonic beasts blocking his way. Lin Yuan swung his snake tail impatiently and directly whipped these demonic beasts into a pile of minced meat. Other than pausing for a moment when he attacked, Lin Yuan did not stop at all. It was as if he did not believe that these Class 9 demonic beasts could withstand his attack. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing Class 9 demonic beast, Black Fox. 0.3 attribute points gained. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing Class 9 demonic beast, Black Tortoise. 0.1 attribute points gained. A series of system announcements rang out. Unfortunately, the attribute points that had been received were all 0 points. More than 10 demonic beasts did not even give Lin Yuan 5 attribute points. Before he reached the wisdom state, the benefits from those experts that he had to risk his life to kill were extremely small. However, the benefits from demonic beasts that were of the same level as him were even smaller. Therefore, he was now stuck in a position that was neither too high nor too low. This uncomfortable feeling made Lin Yuan's desire to complete the urgent mission even more urgent. Mendu, although you are publicly acknowledged as valiant, this king did not expect that you were actually hiding your strength. If this king had not been careful, this king would have lost his life just now. However, it's time for this king to show his prowess. 100-meter-long wolf with snow-white fur arched its body and slowly appeared in Lin Yuan's sight. The Blizzard of the Winterwolf clan was also the culprit who joined forces with the other two clans to attack the Stone clan, directly causing Lin Yuan's second emergency quest to start in hell mode. However, at this moment, Blizzard didn't look like a wolf king at all. Although his fur was still white, one of his hind legs was dragging on the ground. It was obvious that his bones were broken and he couldn't exert any strength. From his previous words, it was obvious that this injury was caused by Mendo's fatal blow. Hiss! The snake flicked its tongue. Thick pillars of water gathered around Lin Yuan. In an instant, 9 water dragons appeared and charged towards Blizzard's back. The battle between demonic beasts was a battle of life and death. There was no such thing as learning from each other or practicing with each other. Therefore, Lin Yuan's sneak attack was fast and ruthless. The 9 water dragons were aimed at Blizzard's hind leg that Mendu had broken. With his current strength, it was not an easy task to gather 9 water dragons under the pouring rain. On the way here, he had swallowed the corpses of 7 level 9 demonic beasts. The warm energy that had gathered in his body had been absorbed by the 9 water dragons. However, with the appearance of the 9 water dragons, Lin Yuan could clearly feel that 2/3 of the energy in his body had been sucked away. Oh whoa! Blizzard didn't even turn its head and roared with a hoarse voice. The wind and snow rose slowly and froze the 9 water dragons one by one. In an instant, the 9 water dragons froze half a meter behind Blizzard. They could no longer move forward. Black Snake. Ping Qiu, who had also steadied himself, was shocked and subconsciously cried out in surprise. He clearly remembered that Qin Yan had led a group of elites to reinforce the mountain quaking apes in order to stop them from attacking. After that, there was no news from them. He had thought that Qin Yan was devouring the black snake. But now, the black snake had led dozens of mountain quaking apes, who were covered in wounds but had an unusually strong fighting spirit, to this place. Then, in the battle between Qin Yan and Black Snake, it was clear who had won and who had lost. In fact, this was also the reason why the cunning and calm Ping Qiu cried out in surprise. Among the 3 clans, the Xian Turtle clan was the best at defense. For example, Mendu's rod had broken one of Blizzard's legs. However, if the same attack landed on Qin Yan, it would at most crack his turtle shell. It wouldn't cause any serious injuries to Qin Yan. Black Snake. Blizzard's movements also stiffened. His face was ugly as he turned his head. He had never thought that Qin Yan would be defeated by the Black Snake. Even more so, he didn't think that the Black Snake would be able to defeat Qin Yan in such a short period of time. This unbelievable battle speed even made Blizzard suspect that Qin Yan had betrayed them and deliberately allowed the Black Snake to cause trouble. I didn't want to interfere in the battle between the two of you, but that big turtle is a little lacking. I've just warmed up and I want to exercise a little. I wonder which one of you is willing to be my opponent. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils didn't blink. When his gaze landed on Ping Qiu and Blizzard, it didn't even cause a ripple in his eyes. This scene made Ping Qiu's heart sink. He looked at Blizzard with an embarrassed expression. It could faintly feel that the Black Snake was not bluffing. Instead, it really had the confidence to deal with one of them, and its chances of winning were not small. Otherwise, the Black Snake's eyes would not be so calm. Are you trying to trick me? Blizzard glanced sideways and said in a low voice, "Ping Chio, delay men do this king can kill this arrogant black snake in 2 rounds." Ping Chio's mouth twitched. He couldn't help but turn his head to look at Mendu, who was covered in scratches. His heart sank. The 2 beast kings couldn't take down Mendu even when they worked together. Now that Blizzard wanted him to delay Mendu alone, it meant that Blizzard was going to force him to fight Mendu until both of them were injured. Blizzard would then take advantage of the situation. Boom! 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 Mendu, who had already been arranged clearly, obviously wouldn't just stand by and watch 2 Beastmaster level existences attack a mere level 10 black snake. Moreover, the black snake was originally an ally of the Shattered Stone clan, and getting rid of Qin Yen would be a great help to it. Humph! Ping Chio snorted coldly. His glossy black fox body darted out and stood in front of Mendu. He slowly raised his right paw. 4 sharp claws slowly emerged from his paw. His gaze was extremely cold. The explosive update event was cancelled. 6 updates today to make up for the missing updates from the past 2 days. 3 updates later, 50 monthly votes plus 1 update. Chapter 89. Mendu, you deal with that black fox first. This white dog can't do anything to me. Lin Yuan took the initiative to calm the restless Mendu with his mind. A strange look flashed across his blue-white vertical pupils. Blizzard's innate ability should be similar to its ability to control ice. Otherwise, it would not be able to freeze all 9 water dragons in an instant. In such a rainstorm, an existence with the innate ability to control ice would naturally have a lot of advantages. The raindrops that fell on him were the size of beans, but the ones that fell on others were sharp icicles. As expected, when Blizzard turned around and charged towards Lin Yuan, the raindrops around Lin Yuan had all condensed into sharp icicles, constantly smashing towards Lin Yuan. Although Lin Yuan dodged left and right, in such a dense rainstorm, as long as he was still within Blizzard's casting range, he would not be able to completely avoid the icicles. In a few breaths' time, Lin Yuan's body was cut into a bloody mess. A large amount of blood was squeezed out from the wounds. When it fell to the ground, it had already turned into red ice fragments. "Ha, little black snake, you didn't expect this, did you? In such weather, this king has an absolute advantage." Blizzard maintained its charging posture, its eyes full of a proud smile. However, very quickly, Blizzard, who had experienced countless battles, grew from an ordinary wolf cub to the existence of the only leader of the Winterwolf clan today, looked suspiciously at Lin Yuan. It could not help but think to itself, "Is this kid really so weak? Doesn't it have a protective technique? Why isn't it using it? Not good." Blizzard suddenly realized that something was wrong. It looked at the ice sculpture beside it with a frightened expression. It found that the ice sculpture was still intact, but at this moment, the ice sculpture suddenly moved, as if it had transformed into 9 real divine dragons and directly swallowed Blizzard into its stomach. When a swordsman drew his sword, it only took a moment to kill the enemy. By the time Blizzard realized that something was wrong, it had already entered Lin Yuan's best attack range. Perhaps even it did not expect that the ice sculpture it created would become a cage to imprison itself. This is where empiricism is harmful. Lin Yuan had previously displayed his talent in controlling water, but there were very few monsters who had seen him use ice. Obviously, he was not in the battle for the blood spirit. Otherwise, he would not have fallen into Lin Yuan's trap so easily. Although this attack had succeeded, Lin Yuan's eyes still had a grave expression. Blizzard's innate ability was ice manipulation. Although his surprise attack could temporarily restrain Blizzard, he could not replicate the same move that killed Qin Yen. As time passed, his control over the ice sculpture was slowly being taken away by Blizzard. The Frost Wolf, who had been through many battles, knew very well that it was safest to stay in the ice sculpture at this moment. If it rushed out rashly, it was afraid that what greeted it would not be the free air, but Lin Yuan's merciless attack. The energy in his body was rapidly depleting. Lin Yuan even felt a trace of hunger. More than half of the control over the ice sculpture had been taken away. At least for now, he could not use the feedback of the ice element to find out where Blizzard was. Even what Blizzard was doing in the ice sculpture seemed to be covered by an invisible hand. Crack! With a loud sound, the ice sculpture shattered. Blizzard, whose face was full of shock, was once again exposed to the air. It looked at Lin Yuan in a daze. For a moment, it did not know how to describe it. This black snake's fighting style and innate ability were extremely terrifying. The moment it realized that it could no longer continue to fight for control of the ice sculpture, it actually detonated the ice element that it controlled. Although it did not hurt Blizzard, it destroyed the ice sculpture that was about to fall into Blizzard's hands. This was to prevent Blizzard's trap from being used against Blizzard. Facing an opponent of this level, Blizzard's thoughts were very complicated. If one had to pick the most accurate word, it would be that it wanted to kill Lin Huang. Although it would not be like Lin Yuan's novels in his previous life, saying something like, "This child must not be left alive, or else he will become a big problem in the future," it did not stop Blizzard from having this thought. After making up its mind, Blizzard's speed towards Lin Yuan increased again. It was as if it could press Lin Yuan into the mud in the next second and give him a good beating. However, Blizzard was not the only one who displayed its full strength. When Blizzard exposed his innate ability to control ice, Lin Yuan did not intend to continue to receive the icicles with his physical body. Instead, he mobilized the control ability around him and brought the ice element into his control bit by bit. Although he did not do it immediately, the icicles that fell from the sky could no longer touch Lin Yuan. "Little black snake, die for this king!" Blizzard roared. Its body moved a few feet horizontally as if it had teleported and appeared directly beside Lin Yuan. Its sharp wolf claws viciously clawed at Lin Yuan's vital point. Sweet rain chill. Lin Yuan's eyes widened. He did not expect Blizzard to have such a move. Although it was not teleportation, the speed it had just displayed was not inferior to teleportation at all. After observing for a while, Lin Yuan finally relaxed. At this moment, Blizzard was panting heavily, as if it could collapse from exhaustion at any time. As long as he received this attack, there was still a chance. Lin Yuan made up his mind and quickly pulled out the system interface. He roared in his heart, "Dog system." Golden body burst. At the same time, faint golden patterns appeared on most of Lin Yuan's body. But even so, the sense of danger in Lin Yuan's heart did not dissipate. Speed and movement would bring about an increase in strength. This was the result of the scientists in his previous life. Lin Yuan did not have the right to question it. Therefore, Lin Yuan believed that Blizzard had not hesitated to enter a weakened state to teleport just now. This meant that this claw attack was not as simple as it seemed. Blood boil technique. After activating the buff, Lin Yuan barely managed to calm down. He looked at Blizzard with a hint of mockery in his eyes, as if this was a sure kill attack from Blizzard. Lin Yuan felt as if he was flying in the sky, but Lin Yuan's expression was indifferent. It was as if he was asking, "That's it?" On the other side, Mendu had also defeated Ping Qiu several times with his stone staff. Only then did he take the time to look at Lin Yuan's battle situation and immediately became anxious. After all, Blizzard was extremely fast. No matter how good Lin Yuan was at dodging, he could at most avoid his vital point, which was his vital point, and then wait for an opportunity to counterattack. Otherwise, he could be killed by Blizzard in one hit. Chapter 90. The sharp wolf claws were almost completely stuck to Lin Yuan's face. Even though they were only a few feet apart, Lin Yuan could clearly feel the terrifying chill coming from Blizzard's wolf claws. Not dodging. Blizzard was slightly startled. Looking at the black snake in front of him, who seemed to have been scared silly, a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. In the next moment, 6 icicles rose from the ground and pierced Blizzard's abdomen. A life for a life. You're not worthy. Killing intent flashed in Blizzard's eyes. The momentum of its wolf claws didn't decrease. It wasn't that it didn't want to, but it couldn't. It burst forth with its speed like an arrow leaving the bow. Even if its abdomen was a vital point, Blizzard had to risk getting injured to kill this black snake. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils didn't show any emotions, but the bright red color in Lin Yuan's eyes proved that his current state of mind wasn't as calm as it seemed on the surface. The rank 2 golden body technique could withstand the force of the deep rock's bite, but could it withstand Blizzard's accelerated claw? Clang! Poochie! Almost at the same time, Blizzard's wolf claws touched Lin Yuan's forehead, but Lin Yuan's icicles also pierced Blizzard's abdomen. Large amounts of dark red blood flowed out, almost dyeing the icicles into pillars of blood. However, Lin Yuan only took 2 steps back slightly and neutralized Blizzard's claw power. This is... Blizzard, who was hanging on the icicle, stared blankly at its right claw that had completely turned into stone. Its narrow eyes flashed with fear. The eyes of petrification was the famous technique of the 3-eyed ape that dominated the Stoneclaw forest. Why did this black snake also know how? In the entire Stony clan, there was only one 3-eyed ape that could use the eyes of petrification. It was said that the youngest of the 3-eyed apes, a guy named Batu, had also inherited his father's eyes of petrification. However, his foundation had been severely damaged by the human demon slayer, and he had no hope of entering the wisdom realm in his lifetime. Naturally, he was unable to awaken the eyes of petrification. It was precisely because of the loss of the 3-eyed ape's special ability that the beast kings of the 3 great clans, including Blizzard, had the idea of fighting for the position of the Stoneclaw Forest's overlord. No matter how strong Mendu was, it was not to the extent where they could not catch up. This was because in the ancient legends, the eyes of petrification was a sign of the mountain-shaking ape's bloodline returning to its ancestral roots. Once it appeared, it had the possibility of evolving into an even more powerful monster beast and had the qualifications to step into the deeper regions of the Hengduan mountain range. Although the 3-eyed ape was valiant, it was limited by its innate talent and had not stepped into the mountain lord realm. However, with the eyes of petrification, it was still able to move unhindered in the Stoneclaw forest. It hurts, but it can't kill me. Lin Yuan communicated with Blizzard telepathically, and a look of ridicule flashed across his eyes. In the next instant, Lin Yuan swung his snake body. His speed was unbelievably fast, and in the blink of an eye, he left behind an afterimage. His tail struck Blizzard's body, which was hanging on the ice spike, and a cold murderous intent spread out. Lin Yuan's current attack power of 14 points, in addition to 1 point of true damage, was enough to cause Blizzard a lot of trouble, even though it could not cause any fatal damage to the Wolf King, who was at the peak of the wisdom state. On the other side, when Ping Qiu saw that Blizzard was injured, a look of shock flashed across his eyes. However, it was this momentary lapse of concentration that allowed Mendu to seize the opportunity. The 100-meter-long thick stone staff ruthlessly struck Ping Qiu's back from top to bottom. Crack! Even though they were a few hundred meters away, Lin Yuan could clearly hear the sound of bones cracking. The 2 beast kings were unable to take down Mendu even after joining forces. After Lin Yuan intervened in this battle, the outcome of the battle was immediately decided. Whether it was Blizzard, who had both his legs broken, or Ping Qiu, who had his spine broken, it was impossible for them to even escape, let alone pose a threat to Mendu. Boom! Boom! After Mendu severely injured Ping Qiu, he did not even look at Lin Yuan's battle situation. He took 2 steps forward, covering a distance of nearly 100 meters. A huge silver-white ape body appeared beside Ping Qiu's hand, and the stone staff in his hand landed heavily on Ping Qiu's face, which was filled with regret and indignation. Splat! The black fox's head shattered, and viscous liquid splattered more than 10 meters away. Roar! Roar! Mendu placed the stone staff in his hand beside him and slapped his chest with both hands. He raised his head and let out an extremely violent roar against the rain. That was the roar of the mountain-quaking apes, announcing their victory. Roar! 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 Almost at the same time, the roars of the mountain-quaking apes joined together and soared into the sky. The battle between the 3 Beast Kings and Ping Qiu had ended with the death of Qin Yan and Ping Qiu, and Blizzard heavily injured. Don't kill me. I'm willing to submit to you. I will never betray you again. Blizzard's weak voice rang out slowly. Mendu was slightly taken aback. Clearly, he did not expect Blizzard to still dare to attract his attention at this time. However, he did not kill Blizzard as decisively as Ping Qiu. Instead, he shifted his gaze to Lin Yuan's face. In the world of demonic beasts, there were not so many stupid rules like humans. However, there was one thing that was indisputable. The prey belonged to whoever killed it. Even if one's combat power far exceeded that of the killer, one could not casually snatch the spoils of war from the other party. In the world of demonic beasts, such a thing could be said to be an endless hatred. Eliminate all evil. Lin Yuan glanced at Blizzard, who was lying weakly on the ground, and replied expressionlessly. Mendu grinned and picked up the stone staff beside him again. He strode towards Blizzard, who was lying on the ground. Just as the thick stone staff was about to fall, 2 sharp rays of cold light suddenly swept out from the side of the forest, shooting straight towards Lin Yuan's snake body. It really came. Lin Yuan glanced in the direction of the cold light. He did not act carelessly and immediately dodged. As a human in the past, he had a thorough understanding of the methods of humans. Whether it was the large net that subdued him last time or the various hidden weapons that were dipped in various poisons, they were all weapons that humans used to deal with demonic beasts. Even a ferocious existence like Mendu would immediately lose its ability to fight once it was injured by something like anesthetics. Therefore, Lin Yuan could calmly withstand the attacks of demonic beasts. However, when it came to the attacks of humans, even if it was just a small inconspicuous trap, Lin Yuan would avoid it with the greatest respect. Humans. Stepping into the Hengduan mountain range again. I think your mountain-blocking city doesn't want to exist anymore, right? Before Lin Yuan could speak, Mendu had already stopped and coldly looked in the direction of the hidden weapon that attacked Lin Yuan. What a good psychic black snake. We have underestimated you previously. In such a short period of time, you have already reached the realm of a Class 10 demonic beast. You can even rely on your Class 10 demonic beast to fight against a wisdom perception great demon without falling into a disadvantageous position. Amazing, amazing. An expert from the human side also spoke. Chapter 91. Mendo's face darkened, and he subconsciously wanted to rush over. It was already an established fact that the 3-eyed ape would not live for long. If the black snake could fulfill its promise, the Batu would become the beast king of the Stoneclaw clan in the future. However, at this time, with the execution of the beast kings of the 3 major clans, Mendo was recognized as the king of the Stoneclaw forest. These humans from Zhanshan City did not take him, a beast king, seriously at all. Lin Yuan's 100-meter-long snake body left an afterimage as it instantly came to Mendo's side. It raised its snake tail and blocked in front of Mendo. It slowly communicated with Mendo using its mind, don't be fooled by these cunning humans. They may have already set up a trap while we were fighting. If you rush in recklessly, you'll be the one to suffer. You're not coming over. You're smart, Black Snake. It's a pity that I've carefully prepared a trap for you. The strong man who spoke before slowly walked out of the shadows of the forest. It was the leader of the Iron Hand Society, Iron Hand, who was scared away by Mendo before. However, at this moment, there was no trace of fear in his eyes. He just looked at Mendo coldly as if he was looking at a corpse. Lin Yuan was also slightly stunned. He still remembered when they were in the forest of monsters. Mendo and Na Qin had only shown their faces for a brief moment, and the monster-slaying group, which was well-equipped and had 2 airborne realm fighters, had quickly retreated, as if they did not want to clash with Mendo at all. It had only been a few days. This leader of the Iron Hand Society looked like he did not care about Mendo at all. Lin Yuan suddenly remembered the force called Yaoming in the war model. Iron Hand strength did not change at all, and the Iron Hand Society was still the same as last time he saw them. The only difference was that there were a few more people in their team, but there was nothing to be concerned about. There was only one person covered in a black robe who was in the airborne realm. How much of a chance did 3 airborne realm fighters have of winning against Mendo? Even though Mendo was injured, it was not something that any Tom, Dick, or Harry could deal with. Otherwise, they would not have been able to attack Zhanshan City and force the humans to sign an agreement that forbade them from hunting in the Hengduan Mountains. The black-robed man slowly took 2 steps forward. He lowered his voice and said, "I'll deal with the Black Snake. You guys go and stall that monkey. Once I've mastered my divine skill, I'll take off the monkey's head. It'll be as easy as taking something out of my pocket." "That's impossible. Why don't you hold Mendo back and let us deal with the Black Snake?" "Patriarch Lu, didn't you say that as long as we capture this Black Snake, our mission would be considered complete?" "You rashly made a move and startled the entire clan, but you still want our Iron Hand Regiment to be your scapegoat?" Another airborne realm fighter from the Iron Hand Society was the first to speak, glaring coldly at the black-robed man. "Fang Tian, shut up." A green light flashed in Iron Arm's eyes as he said in a sinister tone, "You and I will work together, and the rest of the team will support us. We will take down Men's capital. If you are unwilling, you can leave now." "Captain, the airborne realm fighter named Fang Tian choked, and the rest of his words were stuck in his throat. Being a demon slayer was too lucrative. Even father and son, or even brothers, would turn against each other for the sake of the rewards after the mission was completed. However, there was one thing that was almost equivalent to an unspoken rule. That rule was to never be cannon fodder. For a force like the Demon Slayer group that was similar to a mercenary force, even if they were recruited by the Imperial Court and given enough benefits, it would still be useless. They would only follow behind the Imperial Court's army and fight battles that went smoothly. At most, they would send a few demon slayers who were good at movement techniques to join the Imperial Court's army scouting team to investigate the movements of monsters or carry out small-scale beheadings. The Iron Hand Regiment had been in Mountain Fence City for close to 30 years. While their captain was not someone who was afraid of death, he was definitely someone who was unwilling to be taken advantage of. But this time, the employer directly threw a person who wanted them to die, and the commander actually agreed without any hesitation. He only argued a few words, and the commander actually wanted to fall out with him. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. Fang Tian was not the only one. Lin Yuan also realized that something was wrong with the Iron Hand Regiment. While he did not know much about the Iron Hand Regiment, when the Iron Hand Regiment's eyes flashed with a green light, it was recorded by his sense of smell. It was also at that moment that he sensed a faint trace of demonic aura from the human whose temperament had changed greatly. This guy was the so-called Demon Slayer. But what exactly was a Demon Slayer? Was it a puppet refined by a monster? Hiss. Huff. Meng Do took a deep breath and looked coldly at the black-robed man and the Iron Hand Regiment. He then turned his head to Lin Yuan and asked in a low voice, "Brother, how confident are you in dealing with that black-robed man?" "Not even a little." Lin Yuan shook his huge snake head, and an awkward look flashed in his eyes. From the black-robed man's words, he already knew the identity of the black-robed man. It was actually the Liu clan's patriarch who had been constantly targeting him. This time, he did not arrange for his subordinates to enter the Hingduan mountain range to search for him. Instead, he personally led the Iron Hand Regiment's demon-subduing master into the Stoneclaw Forest. It was obvious that he was determined to capture him. After fighting several times, although Lin Yuan did not leave any survivors, the other party was still able to pinpoint his location so accurately. This meant that this Liu clan's patriarch must have some strange means. Facing such a situation, if Lin Yuan still maintained his confidence and fought with him, it would undoubtedly be suicide. Ah! Meng Do was stunned. Lin Yuan dared to directly fight an intelligent state great demon. Other than the Dove Snake, Blizzard and Chen Yan were both well-known beast kings in the Stoneclaw Forest. These two existences had suffered great losses at the hands of Lin Yuan. Now, let alone the rumors that Lin Yuan had the strength to kill an intelligent state great demon, even if it was boasted that Lin Yuan was second only to him, Meng Do would not hesitate to believe that Lin Yuan really had the strength to do so, let alone the rumors that Lin Yuan had the strength to kill an intelligent state great demon. But at this moment, facing a tiny human hiding his head and tail, Lin Yuan actually said that he did not have the slightest confidence. Looking at Meng Do's expression that said, "Are you King kidding me?" Lin Yuan could only smile bitterly in his heart. It was not that he had not killed an intelligent state great demon before, but the 5 heavy armor warriors he killed last time were all heavily injured by the self-explosion of the mutated blood spirit. It was just that the mutated blood spirit did not finish them off, so he was able to take advantage of the situation. Including the golden dragon saber, the cold wind ring, and the cannons from the city lord mansion, these humans had given Lin Yuan many surprises time and time again. This time, Patriarch Liu was full of confidence and personally led the team into the Hingduan mountain range. He definitely did not think that Lin Yuan was still in the realm of a Class 7 great demon. He was most likely preparing a trump card for himself as an intelligent state great demon. Chapter 92. Don't go all out. Try to stall for time and wait for the sage and our reinforcements to arrive. Lin Yuan instructed Meng Do in a low voice. Then, he turned his blue-white eyes and looked at Clan Head Liu. Clan Head Liu shrugged his shoulders indifferently and said with a smile, "Black Snake, should be thanking you. You saved the most outstanding disciple of our Liu clan's younger generation. If you were a human, I would definitely reward you handsomely. But unfortunately, you are a demonic beast. So, I can only kill you. If I let you continue to grow, you will definitely become a scourge for the human race in the future. *T. So what if I'm a demonic beast? Do demonic beasts deserve to die?" Lin Yuan glanced at Clan Head Liu from the corner of his eyes. He almost couldn't suppress the anger in his heart. He had a little understanding of the structure of this world. He didn't know what the demonic beasts had done in the past, but today, the demonic beasts could only hide in places like the Hingduan Mountains and struggle at death's door. Only a few existences at the level of the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas were qualified to walk freely on the continent. The low-level demonic beasts in the demonic beast forest not only had to survive under the jaws of other demonic beasts, but they could also become prey in the eyes of the demon slayers at any time. Their fur was made into clothes and armor, their bones and claws were made into weapons, and their flesh was cooked in various ways. All the demonic beasts that died in the hands of humans didn't even have a complete corpse left. Even if the demonic beasts didn't do anything, countless demon slayers would be attracted to the Hingduan mountain range to hunt for demonic beasts. Do humans have to be high and mighty? Do demonic beasts deserve to become food in the stomachs of humans? Ha! Clan head Lu sneered and stretched his body. He slowly took off his black robe, revealing an ashen face. He said in a strange tone, "We humans are the true rulers of this continent. You were born to be slaughtered by us humans. This is an indisputable fact. Do you think those demonic beasts in the Hingduan mountain range really fought for their own territory? Ridiculous. You are nothing but livestock raised by us humans. Now that I need your flesh, you should die in my hands. It's as simple as that." Raised livestock. Whether it was Lin Yuan or Meng Du, at this moment, their faces were extremely gloomy. The Hingduan mountain range occupied the central region of the continent. If the 7 great dynasties wanted to enter the other party's territory at the fastest speed, they had to cross this boundless mountain range. Although the various races in the Hingduan mountain range were not comparable to the 4 great dragon palaces, the power of all the demonic beasts living here could easily destroy the so-called human dynasties. This human actually dared to utter such nonsense in the Hingduan mountain range. You're dead. There is no longer any need for Mountain Blocking City to exist. Your Lu family will also be exterminated by my Gravel family. Meng Dou's silver-white hair that was drenched by the rain stood up, and his eyes were bloodshot. Boom! 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 Meng Dou took a step forward and directly rushed towards the arrogant Lu family head, completely ignoring Lin Yuan's warning. At this moment, Meng Dou was extremely angry. His heart was no longer burning with anger, but an erupting volcano. Fang Tian, do it! Iron Arms called out, and without turning his head back, he charged towards Meng Dou. The members of the Iron Hand Society also took off their cloaks, revealing blades that emitted a cold glint, as well as the crossbows hidden under their cloaks. Although the arrowheads were clearly made of metal, there wasn't the slightest bit of coldness that belonged to metal emanating from them. Obviously, these crossbow bolts were all coated with poison. Whoosh! 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 Bolts shot out from the crossbows one after another. The density of the bolts wasn't the slightest bit inferior to the rain falling from the vault of heaven. However, the bolts accurately avoided Steel Arms and Fang Tian, who were leading the charge, and directly rushed towards the door. Moreover, the bolts were much faster than Steel Arms and Fang Tian. Meng Dou swung the stone staff in his hand, and directly formed a barrier in front of him. The crossbow bolts clanged as they hit the barrier in front of Meng Dou, and fell to the ground. Die for me! Iron Arms, who was following closely behind, growled. His body suddenly expanded, and directly turned into a 3-meter-tall burly man in front of Meng Dou. The clothes on his body were directly torn apart, revealing his hands that were hidden under his clothes. A pair of metal gloves instantly broke through the curtain of rain, and blasted towards Meng Dou in front of him. Ridiculous! Meng Dou sneered. His right hand controlled the stone staff to block the crossbow bolts, and his left hand similarly smashed out a fist. The 3-meter-tall Iron Arms might be considered a giant among humans, but in front of a 100-meter-tall demonic beast, he was still as laughable as an ant. Bang! Tai Shou's legs paused and then slightly bent. The ground beneath his feet immediately crumbled. At the same time, Tai Shou's body abruptly shot up. He actually did not attempt to dodge, but rather, he directly faced Meng Dou's fist. This kind of action, even if it was done by an airborne realm expert, could only be described with one word: courting death. It was not that there were no strong people among humans who had tempered their physique, and there were even some who were more tyrannical than demonic beasts. However, such existences were all in the Heaven Star realm or even higher. In other words, demonic beasts below the Heaven Star realm were invincible. Iron Arms, a mere airborne realm expert, actually wanted to meet Meng Do's fist head-on. Here. Fong Tian, who was following closely behind Iron Arms, also roared at this moment. His body strangely rotated 270 degrees, and a cold light directly shot out from his hand. That was a spear. A great spear that was 18 feet long. Although it was a great spear in the eyes of humans, in Meng Do's eyes, this great spear was not even comparable to a toothpick. Even so, Meng Do had no choice but to respond. His 150-meter-tall body suddenly shrunk, and once again returned to the size when Lin Yuan first met him. He was even shorter than a normal ape. It was also because Meng Do suddenly shrunk his body that most of the arrows, Iron Arms punches, and Fong Tian's great spear all missed. This wave of perfect dodging caused Lin Yuan to frown slightly. An incomparably violent warrior like Meng Do actually gave up on attacking and dodged. What exactly was that great spear thrown by that human just now? Demon Buster Spear. Meng Do exclaimed, and the fury in his eyes dissipated a little. Obviously, the great spear thrown by Fong Tian previously made him extremely fearful. "Ha, you're quite knowledgeable." Fong Tian sneered. His feet stepped on the ground, and his body swept forward like a ghost again. Iron Arms, who was in mid-air, changed his attack. He grabbed the Demon Buster Spear that was shooting at him from behind. The air under his feet suddenly stagnated, and Iron Arms actually completed a wave of air borrowing force and turned around to attack Meng Do again. Chapter 93. Iron Arm, who was wielding the Demon Buster Spear, descended from the sky. His eyes were no longer clear as they were completely replaced by a green glow. "Captain," Fong Tian opened his mouth and felt an unusual bitterness in his mouth. This Demon Buster Spear that even the sect was wary of was actually just a standard weapon produced by the 7 great dynasties. As long as one could pay a sufficient price, one could exchange for a Demon Buster Spear from a certain dynasty's military. The one in Fong Tian's hand came from a battle to exterminate demonic beasts. Nearly 7 million humans and demonic beasts had died on that battlefield. Fong Tian, who was lucky enough to survive, also received a Demon Buster Spear as a reward that was better than nothing. Why was it better than nothing? Because the Demon Buster Spear was very powerful. Although it was just a standard weapon, the Demon Buster Spear had almost no upper limit. It was said that as long as the user was willing, even his essence, chi, and spirit could be infused into the Demon Buster Spear. At the cost of his own life, he could release the strongest attack of his life. Similarly, if the energy infused into the Demon Buster Spear was not enough, it would not be much stronger than an ordinary spear. Now, in order to kill Meng Do, Iron Arm actually infused everything he had into the Demon Buster Spear without holding back. Once this spear landed, regardless of whether Meng Do would die or not, Iron Arm would not have any chance of survival. Fong Tian could not understand why his captain, who had been with him for so many years, would suddenly become a different person. This act of using his own life in exchange for Meng Do's life was already beyond an employment relationship. Even if Iron Arm wanted to be family head loose dog, he should not be willing to do this. As Lin Yuan watched the battle between Iron Arm and Meng Do, a look of shock flashed across his vertical pupils. He did not know what the Demon Buster Spear was, but he could feel that the huge spear was emitting extremely terrifying energy. Even if he used his Stage 2 Golden Body technique to take it, he would be shattered on the spot. However, fear was one thing. Lin Yuan's attention was on something else. Ding! Congratulations to the host. You have eliminated the Hunting Wind and Boulder clans. You have successfully completed the second stage of the advancement mission, Disposition of the Owl Snake. Completion rate is 77%. Completion evaluation is E-. Rewards are being calculated. Host has eliminated the Boulder Clan's patriarch, Chin Yen. Host has obtained 5 attribute points, Mystic Turtle Shell X1. Host has defeated Winterwolf Clan leader Blizzard. Host has gained 2 attribute points, Frost Wolf Claw X1. The host has killed a certain number of black foxes, a certain number of frost wolves, and a certain number of black tortoises. Obtained 11 attribute points. Settlement complete. The host has received a total of 18 attribute points and 2 materials, already in the resource warehouse. Ding! Congratulations to host for obtaining victory in the Stoneclaw Forest battle. You have gained 300 war points. The war treasury has now been opened. Host can enter the war treasury at any time to exchange war points for items. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the second stage of the promotion mission. The final stage of the promotion mission is now unlocked. Name, Allserpent's Form Stage 3, Throne of Corpses. Description: you are now one of the strongest monsters in the Stoneclaw Forest. The Frost Wolf, Black Fox, and Black Tortoise clans have all bowed down to you. As long as you are willing, you can rise to the top at any time and become the new king of the Stoneclaw Forest. However, how can a true king of beasts only have the corpses of monsters under him? Quest requirements: personally kill Yao Ming, Patriarch Lu, and a member of the Iron Hand Society. Killing one of the 3 is considered to have completed the quest. Mission reward: based on the degree of completion failure penalty, the system will automatically strip the host of the rights to evolve. A series of system notifications kept ringing in Lin Yuan's mind. In just a few breaths of time, Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils flashed with a cold light. Glancing at his attribute panel, he realized that there was a huge number of 21 behind his attribute points. The system did not give an answer for the time being about how many attribute points were needed to advance from a level 10 monster beast to a wisdom state monster beast, but Lin Yuan already had a general idea. It should hover between 20 and 50 points. That is to say, it is very likely that Lin Yuan will become a real wisdom state monster beast when all his attributes exceed 100 points. System, can I add points now? Lin Yuan took a deep breath and asked tentatively. The host can add points after completing the second phase of the quest. However, the points cannot exceed grade 1 of the intelligent perception realm. Even if the points reach the requirements, before completing the final phase, the host cannot evolve into an intelligent perception monster. The system's voice slowly sounded. At the end, it added a sentence full of evil humor. Simply put, the host can have the strength of grade 1 of the intelligent perception realm at most. However, after the attribute points reach the requirements, the host cannot become stronger. Furthermore, the host cannot enjoy the benefits of healing his injuries after advancing. Chief Lin Yuan sneered and ignored the system's evil humor. Instead, he silently used the system to add points. Host, Lin Yuan status, Sky-piercing black python, in the process of transforming into a flood dragon, realm, 10 out of 10 innate skills, 1. Distinguish the enemy's location based on smell, cannot advance, 2. Create an accurate image of a 500-meter radius around the body based on smell, 0/100, 3. Water/ice control, 0/100, 4. Blood sacrifice wish technique, make a wish using one's own blood or another creature's blood, can be replaced by attribute points, as a sacrifice. Whether the wish is fulfilled or not depends on the strength of the wish and the quality of the sacrifice. 5. Flood Dragon Snake Scale Armor. When the scale armor is in good condition, it can provide the host with a 20% increase in defense. Speed, 24 plus 1 defense, 23 plus 6. 6 attack, 25 plus 1 allocable points, 0 martial arts, golden body secrets, 70 out of 100, skills, 1. Death coil, 145 of 300, 2. Poison of poisoned wine, 78/300, 3. Tail strike, 25 out of 100, 4. Blood boil technique, 2 out of 100, 5. All things have spirit, can be used to communicate with other creatures. Cannot advance, items, damaged light feather, can be repaired, eye of petrification name, light feather, already damaged, effect, speed +1 upon equipping. Additional skill, light feather wind skill, light feather wind. When you fall from a high place, you can glide for a short period of time. Note, the cost of repairing an item is 10 attribute points. Name, eye of petrification effect, no equipment effects. Additional skills, sharp perception, light of petrification skills, 1. Sharp perception. You, who have a third eye, have vision and senses that normal people can't reach. 2. Light of petrification. Use demonic chi to activate the eye of petrification. It can shoot out a ray of light that can petrify living creatures. A total of 21 attribute points, 10 points in speed and 11 points in attack. After distributing them, all of Lin Yuan's attributes had exceeded 20 points. Every single one of them had reached the peak of a rank 10 demonic beast. With the addition of the Flood Dragon scale armor, Lin Yuan's defense had even exceeded this limit. Although he was quite satisfied with his growth, Lin Yuan also discovered a very important problem. No matter how many times he used the water/ice control innate skill, no matter what kind of opponent he faced, it had never increased in proficiency. Chapter 94. At this moment, Lin Yuan suddenly felt a burst of heat on his forehead. That was the area covered by the Eye of Petrification. Although the Eye of Petrification didn't allow Lin Yuan to grow a third eye after equipping it, the keen perception attribute was still in effect. After the Eye of Petrification gave him a warning, Lin Yuan didn't hesitate for a moment. His huge snake body twisted into a ball and strangely pulled away a distance of nearly 20 meters. Only then did he stabilize his body and look at the area he was previously in. More than 10 sharp metal square cards were embedded in the damp soil. Seeing that Lin Yuan had dodged his attack, Patriarch Lu suddenly grinned and revealed a cold smile. "Oh, I thought you were scared silly. Turns out your reaction is still so sharp. You're courting death." Lin Yuan spat out his snake's forked tongue and shot up, heading straight for Patriarch Lu. All of his attributes had exceeded 20 points. Even if he had already lost the bonus of the blood boil technique, Lin Yuan still had the confidence to fight against an airborne realm human. Moreover, the three-eyed ape was probably already on its way here. As long as he could delay these humans, he might be able to successfully complete the final advancement quest. It was still the same old saying. Although the system had always tricked Lin Yuan, making him hover on the edge of life and death time and time again, and when it issued quests recently, it would often remove the system's punishment if the quest failed. However, the system would never issue a quest that was sure to kill Lin Yuan. Even when it was the time with the mutated blood spirit, the system still modified the quest in time. Since the quest's punishment was so resolute, that meant that under the system's detection, Lin Yuan had a chance of winning. Not running. You've got guts. Patriarch Lu sneered and spread his hands behind his back. Sharp metal cards formed an indestructible metal barrier behind him. This method was somewhat similar to the 10,000 swords return to origin that Lin Yuan had seen in movies and TV series in his previous life. However, when the swords were replaced with these metal cards, although they were still visually impactful, Lin Yuan's first reaction wasn't an unbeatable sense of oppression. Black Snake, I know you have a lot of doubts. For example, why am I so against you? Before you died, I mercifully told you that what I am cultivating is not the orthodox cultivation method of humans, but an evil cultivation method that requires me to continuously devour demon beasts in order to become stronger. Recently, there have been some problems with my cultivation and I urgently need dragon blood to neutralize the rampaging energy in my body. But I never thought that before I could find any traces of a dragon descendant, I would find you, an ancient remnant species that is even more precious than the dragon clan. Patriarch Lu controlled as he controlled the cards to approach to Lin Yuan. He revealed a mocking smile and said in a cold voice, "You are a gift from the heavens. When I see you, I can even feel the blood in my body. As long as I eat you. And I will of the world of the world of the world of the world, of the world of the world of the world of the world of the world. Lin Lin. The taller, the wind wind the wind." This old saying from his previous life was still effective even in a different world. He had just shown a little bit of spiritual wisdom when he came to this world, but he was targeted by a pervert like family head Lu. This was something that he had never expected. Something is wrong. You are not human. Or rather, you are not Patriarch Lu. After dodging again, there was a bit of surprise in Lin Yuan's eyes. When the green light flashed in Iron Arm's eyes, Lin Yuan noticed a trace of demonic aura. But when Patriarch Lu attacked him, his body was definitely filled with demonic aura. It was impossible for humans to condense demonic aura, no matter how strange the cultivation method was. Different species were different. Seeing Lin Yuan speak, Patriarch Lu's eyes flashed with a touch of surprise, but he quickly hid it. He still maintained the control cards in his hand to attack Lin Yuan, but his voice was much colder. "I didn't expect that this black snake of yours would have some skills. Yes, this body is not human, but I am the ancestor of the Lu family. Black snake, you are just a demonic beast. How can you understand the world of the human world? Even if I said it, would you be able to understand the principle of a rich man not being in danger? What kind of rich man are you?" Lin Yuan sneered as he dodged the cards. The snake's tongue quietly protruded, and it began to scan the surroundings with its sense of smell. The system would not give out a mission for no reason. Iron Arms might not be a demonic beast, but the Patriarch Lu in front of him was definitely a demonic beast. But the system labeled Patriarch Lu and demonic beasts separately. This meant that the real Patriarch Lu had also come to the Stoneclaw Forest. It was just that the current situation was not clear, so he had not shown himself. Underground. Lin Yuan's body suddenly stopped. Dozens of metal cards bombarded Lin Yuan's body, clashing with his golden body and sending a lot of sparks flying. In the image created by the sense of smell, a humanoid creature was hiding about 200 meters below the demonic beast. The aura on the creature was also at the airborne realm, and it came from the same source as the demonic beast. It was obvious that the Patriarch Lu was the one who had refined the demonic beast. At the moment, the creature was hiding underground because it was inconvenient for him to move, or because he wanted to deal a fatal blow to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan still maintained his style of advancing instead of retreating after detecting the enemy's tracks. He gritted his teeth and approached the area where the demonic beast was. The light golden snake's body swung wildly, avoiding all the parts that had not been tempered by the golden body burst. He had no idea what the metal cards were made of, but the damage they caused to his golden body was definitely not small. In just a short while, Lin Yuan even felt that part of his golden body had cracks on it, as if it was about to collapse at any moment. "You sure have some tricks up your sleeve, Black Snake. You can actually resist my life-sealing card." Seeing that Lin Yuan was advancing instead of retreating, Yao Ming did not show any panic in his eyes, nor did he have any intention of retreating. He waved his hand, and the metal cards gathered behind him, forming a semicircular fan again. Every metal card was interlocked, as if they had always been like this and had only been separated at the last minute. One end of the fan was extremely sharp. Under the refraction of the rain and sunlight, it flashed with a frightening cold light. Lin Yuan was still twisting his snake's body quickly. His blue-white vertical pupils stared at the fan behind Yao Ming. A crazy look gradually appeared in Lin Yuan's eyes. You still don't want to hide. You have a death wish. Yao Ming saw that Lin Yuan was still approaching quickly. His eyes flickered slightly, as if he was thinking about what Lin Yuan was relying on. However, at times like this, combat instincts were often controlling the body. So, even if Yao Ming had not figured out what Lin Yuan was thinking, it did not stop him from attacking. Whoosh! With a sharp sound of the wind, the fan suddenly swept out. Its speed was even faster than the metal cards from before. Chapter 95. 150 meters. 100 meters. 60 meters. 30 meters. The distance between Lin Yuan and Yao Ming rapidly shrank. At this moment, the fan that Yao Ming had unleashed finally arrived in front of Lin Yuan. The incomparably sharp metallic edge was almost pressed against Lin Yuan's head. Joy flashed through Yao Ming's eyes. The life-sealing card was a very special weapon. Without reaching the airborne realm, it was impossible to use spiritual qi to activate the life-sealing card. There were a total of 64 life-sealing cards. If they were separated, they would still be treasures that could cut through metal like mud. However, they were not enough against a true expert. As such, Yao Ming was not surprised when the scattered cards failed to break through Lin Yuan's scales. If an ancient remnant was so easy to deal with, how could it be something that countless cultivators dreamed of? However, the life-sealing cards had other forms apart from being scattered. For example, the current fan was one of them. The power that erupted from the 64 life-sealing cards when gathered together was definitely much more terrifying than when the scattered cards attacked separately. Tail strike. Lin Yuan suddenly leapt into the air. The huge fan swept past Lin Yuan and heavily embedded itself into the moist ground. It instantly created a pit that was nearly 100 meters deep. Surprise flashed through Yao Ming's eyes when he saw that Lin Yuan had dodged his fatal attack. However, when he saw that Lin Yuan was still heading straight for him, Yao Ming reacted decisively. He pushed off the ground and directly pulled back. However, what Yao Ming did not expect was that when he dodged Lin Yuan's attack, a look of excitement suddenly flashed through Lin Yuan's eyes. He was like a child who had succeeded in his prank. Could it be? Suddenly, a thought flashed through Yao Ming's mind. Boom! Lin Yuan's snake tail was like the tip of a spear. It stabbed into the moist ground. With his current offensive power, there was no obstruction at all. He directly dug a deep pit in the ground. Moreover, his huge snake body continuously rotated like a drill. In just a few breaths, large chunks of flesh and blood were suddenly squeezed out of the pit. Yao Ming stared at this scene in a daze. He was unable to react for a long time. Arg! 2 breaths later, Yao Ming suddenly opened his mouth and let out an incomparably miserable shriek. His body began to sway, and his eyes were completely occupied by a green light. I'll kill you. Kill you. Kill you. It was as if Yao Ming had lost all reason. He no longer had the arrogance that he had when he first spoke, nor did he have the mockery that he had when he released the life-sealing tablet. At this moment, Yao Ming seemed to have lost his mind. After the green light in his eyes scattered, only endless coldness and killing intent remained. TSK, how troublesome. Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao, Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao, 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 and Yao, Yao. From the information he had obtained, the patriarch of the Liu family did indeed practice an evil technique related to monsters. The Yao Ming he faced was an evil thing created by this evil technique. Lin Yuan did not have much confidence in facing Yao Ming head-on. However, the knowledge he had accumulated from his previous life told him that as long as he killed the person controlling the puppet would definitely become paralyzed. As a result, Lin Yuan had charged over while enduring Yao Ming's injuries after learning of the patriarch of the Lu family's true hiding place. However, Yao Ming did not become paralyzed like he had expected after the patriarch of the Lu family was ground to a pulp. Instead, he became even more deranged. After all, as far as Lin Yuan knew, Yao Ming should not be able to stray too far from the patriarch of the Lu family. Otherwise, the patriarch of the Lu family would not be lying 200 meters underground. Yao Ming's method of controlling Yao Ming was clearly soul control. He had temporarily given up control of his own body and continued to control the puppet that could not be damaged. In that case, everything would be fine as long as he killed the patriarch of the Lu family. However, what had happened was already beyond Lin Yuan's control. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully killing the patriarch of the Lu family. You have obtained 5 attribute points. The system notification rang out in Lin Yuan's head, completely shattering the last trace of doubt in his heart. It made him certain that the person he had just killed was the patriarch of the Lu family. Black Snake, I will tear you to shreds. It's all because of you that I am trapped in this puppet body. I will also refine you into a puppet. Yao Ming's current state was somewhat similar to that of a wrestler who was going all out against a door. While Lin Yuan's guess was not entirely correct, the patriarch of the Lu family had indeed used his soul to control Yao Ming. Now that his body had been completely destroyed by Lin Yuan, his soul naturally had no place to return to. He could only temporarily reside in this puppet. However, Yao Ming's kinetic energy was not endless, especially without the supply of spiritual qi from its master. Every bit of energy consumed by Yao Ming would be reduced. Even if he could find a way to replenish his energy in the future, it would be useless. This was because Yao Ming was made from an airborne realm corpse that the patriarch of the Lu family had specially found. Regardless of how powerful he was, there was no way he could raise a dead corpse's realm. The plan to devour the Black Snake and enter the Heavenly Strength realm had only just begun, and it had already ended in failure. Boom! The pale golden snake tail collided with the green hands of the puppet. Yao Ming's feet stomped on the ground, creating 2 long trenches. It was almost as if an invisible force had dragged it back for more than 600 meters. Its hands were completely bent, making it almost impossible to see their original shape. After stabilizing its body, it remained motionless. It was impossible to tell whether it was still alive or dead. Lin Yuan, on the other hand, was obviously not in a good state from the instant collision. The golden body on the snake tail was instantly covered with cracks. The black cracks looked like a dense spider web. There were even black scales at the center of the collision. Yao Ming's attack had actually broken through his golden body. Lin Yuan was both shocked and furious. His face was full of disbelief. If that attack from Yao Ming was converted into attack power, could it have dealt nearly 9,000 damage? However, after carefully sensing it, Lin Yuan felt that something was not quite right. If his golden body was broken, it meant that the opponent's attack had far exceeded the limit of what he could withstand by 300 times. This data was even under the effect of the Tier 2 Golden Body Technique's 45% damage immunity. If such power were to hit him, he would have been reduced to minced meat in an instant. However, at this moment, Lin Yuan only felt that the snake's body, which was about 20 meters up from the tip of its tail, had completely lost all feeling. Even moving was an extravagant hope. He could only rely on the area around his belly to stabilize his body. He could no longer use tail strikes or catapults. However, he was still far from being reduced to minced meat. This damage was very freaking weird. Chapter 96. Lin Yuan and Patriarch Lu separated as soon as they made contact. They looked at each other from a distance of more than 600 meters. Patriarch Lu licked his lips as a sinister look flashed across his eyes. He didn't expect the black snake to survive his attack. At this moment, he couldn't help but lower his head to look at his extremely twisted hands. A complicated and obscure look flashed across his eyes. Although Yao Ming had followed Iron Arms and the others over mountains and rivers to this place, his main body had already used a burrowing talisman to sneak under the Stoneclaw Forest's battlefield. Therefore, he had a panoramic view of Lin Yuan's previous performance. Even Qin Yan, who was in the wisdom state, couldn't bite through Lin Yuan's shell. Even Qin Yan's innate attack, which could collapse the heavens and earth, could only injure Lin Yuan's flesh, which didn't turn pale gold. Later on, although Lin Yuan had used the eyes of petrification to plot against him, Patriarch Lu had estimated that even if Blizzard's full-strength attack landed on Lin Yuan, its sharp claws might not be able to tear through Lin Yuan's scales. Therefore, when he provoked Lin Yuan, he had already made full preparations. He had already stuck a low-grade armor penetration talisman on his palm. He was betting that the attack just now would be able to shatter the black snake's scales and let this damned black snake experience the pain of being skinned. The layer of pale gold scales on Lin Yuan's body was indeed shattered, but the effect wasn't as outstanding as Patriarch Lu had expected. This was because the area where Lin Yuan's pale gold scales were shattered was only the area where his fist collided. Moreover, after the pale gold scales were shattered, a layer of black scales was revealed. Could it be that this black snake had 2 layers of scales? Thinking of this, Patriarch Lu couldn't help but shudder. Everyone knew that snake-type demonic beasts had to shed their original skin if they wanted to grow. Ever since this black snake was discovered by the Lu clan, it had grown from a small snake that was a few meters long to a giant python that was 100 meters long. However, it didn't seem to have shed its skin at all. If one had to attribute it to the uniqueness of an ancient remnant beast, it wouldn't be impossible. However, he had never heard of an ancient remnant beast that could grow 2 layers of skin. Furthermore, each layer had an astonishing defensive power. Ding! Alien energy has been detected. Host's golden body incantation has been broken. Calculating losses. Ding! Settlement complete. Host's cultivation has been broken by the low-grade yellow-tier armor break talisman. Golden body secrets proficiency has decreased by 2 points. The sound of the system notification broke the silence. Lin Yuan's blue-white vertical pupils suddenly shrank. When he looked in the direction of Patriarch Lu, there was only a murderous intent left in his eyes that made Patriarch Lu shudder. Every time the second stage golden body secrets increased 1 point of proficiency, it would cost him 11 attribute points. However, if he were to cultivate by himself, based on the original first stage golden body secrets cultivation speed, Lin Yuan felt that even if he ate all the demonic beasts in the Stoneclaw Forest that could provide him with energy, he might not be able to refine his 2-meter snake body. Patriarch Lu's desperate punch had caused him to lose a total of 22 attribute points. Subconsciously, he wanted to charge in Patriarch Lu's direction. However, the waves of pain coming from his body allowed him to regain some clarity. At least, he was no longer as violent as he was at the start. Moreover, although his thoughts were clear, the injury on the snake's tail seemed to be more serious than he had imagined. It actually ignored the commands from his brain. Cough. Patriarch Lu coughed out a mouthful of black viscous liquid and sneered, "Looks like your demonic snake isn't that powerful. I thought you were really unharmed. Now you can't even move, right?" Lin Yuan narrowed his eyes slightly. There were 3 completion conditions for the final stage of the urgent mission. The mission to kill Patriarch Lu had already been ticked by the system. The mission to kill the demonic centipede and kill the members of the Iron Hand Society had yet to be completed. However, at the bottom of the mission, the Submit button had already appeared. It seemed to be tempting Lin Yuan. As long as he submitted the mission now, he would immediately become an intelligent demonic beast. Lin Yuan sneered and decisively closed the mission that had popped up. He was very clear about the nature of the system. This plaything probably felt that he could not wait to skin Patriarch Lu alive. Therefore, it took the initiative to pop up this notification to make Lin Yuan give up on the mission's other rewards. If I can't move, do you think you can move? Don't forget where you are. Even if I can't move, I can still guarantee my own safety. However, if you are trapped here, what do you think will happen to you? Lin Yuan began to communicate with Patriarch Lu using his thoughts and began to shoot his mouth off. This old man's body has already been crushed by you. What else can I care about? Do you really think that the friendship between demonic beasts is so reliable? Black Snake, you have dragon blood in your body. As long as they eat your flesh, even an ordinary beast can become a powerful demonic beast. Tell me, if I were to tell them that you can't even move right now, would those demonic beasts that are rushing over swarm over, lie on your body and gnaw on your flesh and blood? Ha 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 ha. Patriarch Lu suddenly laughed heartily. He seemed to be very satisfied with his idea of taking revenge on the Black Snake. From what you're saying, you think that because you are an idiot, the other creatures are also idiots. My reputation is well known in this forest. Even if those demonic beasts have designs on me, do you think they can really bite through my scales? If their greed is aroused by you and they can't do anything to me, you will definitely die a painful death. Lin Yuan's eyes flashed with contempt. Hearing this, Patriarch Lu's eyes flashed with shock. There was really something wrong with this Black Snake. When he was talking to this Black Snake that was growing at an extremely fast speed, he didn't feel the childlike naivety of other demon beasts. On the contrary, he felt that the Black Snake in front of him was like an old fox that had seen the vicissitudes of life. Its reaction and intelligence were simply outrageous. When he said those words, he thought that he could see the Black Snake's frightened expression. Even if it couldn't move now, it should at least seek psychological satisfaction, right? In the end, the Black Snake's indifferent expression added a layer of psychological pressure to him. I am already a dead man. Now that a wisp of my soul occupies a corpse, do you think I will still be afraid of death? Low-level demonic beasts can't deal with you, but if the news that you can't move spreads, many demonic beasts will come here from afar. Even some powerful demon slayer masters won't let you go. I want to know why you are so fearless. Patriarch Lu sneered and replied. Chapter 97. Don't play this game with me. For someone like you who's afraid of death, even if you didn't guess that I could discover your true body, you must have made other preparations. Aren't you bickering with me to stall for time so that your backup plan can take effect? I'm guessing that your backup plan is Iron Hands, right? The remaining one-third of energy in Lin Yuan's body slowly circulated and began to repair the injuries on his body. As time passed, he felt that the pain coming from the snake's tail area was getting clearer and clearer. However, Lin Yuan was getting happier and happier. After all, if he could feel pain, it meant that the injured area was recovering well. Otherwise, if he couldn't feel any pain, it meant that the nerves were dead. It was like cutting off your arm and throwing it on the ground. Even if it was trampled into meat paste, you wouldn't feel the slightest bit of pain. Family head Lu bickering with him was to put psychological pressure on him. In this way, when both sides fought again, he would be able to gain the upper hand. Seeing that Black Snake had exposed his trick, Family Head Lu didn't continue the conversation. Instead, he became silent. It was obvious that he was going to concentrate on preparing his own plan. On the other side, the victor between Iron Hands and Mendu had already been decided. Mendu stood on the spot without moving. The thick stone rod in his right hand had completely disappeared. The aura on his body was also extremely weak, as if he could die at any time. This was the first time Lin Yuan saw Mendu suffer such serious injury since he knew him. On the other hand, Iron Hands landed steadily on the ground. The Demon Buster spear in his hand was placed horizontally behind him. The sharp spear tip pierced into the soil. It looked like a brave general who had single-handedly pierced through the enemy's front line. However, Lin Yuan could no longer feel the existence of any aura from Iron Hands. At this moment, Iron Hands' essence, energy, and spirit had been sucked dry. Although his physical body was still standing proudly, his soul had already dissipated. "Leader," he muttered absent-mindedly. Feng Tian couldn't understand why this mission had developed to such a stage. In order to capture a psychic black snake, even before they set off, they had already made preparations to fight against Wisdom Realm great demons. However, when Patriarch Lu and Iron Arms both died, Feng Tian, the strongest expert present, had already completely collapsed. Although the members of the Iron Hand Corps were elites, and had prepared sufficient equipment, they were currently facing all the high-rank monster beasts of the Stoneclaw Forest's 4 great clans. Even if they had already fought a bloody battle, the remaining numbers were not something a mere demon-subduing corps could handle. At this moment, there were no more than 8 members of the Iron Hand Society who were still alive, and only 3 of them were still able to fight. Among these 3 people, Feng Tian, who had lost his weapon and had a mental breakdown, was also included. In this situation, no matter how he thought about it, Lin Yuan didn't think that Patriarch Lu had a chance to make a comeback. Bang! Suddenly, the Yao Ming exploded in front of Lin Yuan. A streak of green light suddenly shot out from the splattered flesh and blood, entering Lin Yuan's lifeless body. F***CK. Possession. Lin Yuan's eyes widened as he stared in disbelief at the green light that entered Feng Tian's body. The requirement to kill the Yao Ming on the mission pane was also marked with a tick. This was something that Lin Yuan hadn't expected. After all, the Yao Ming had died from self-destruction, and it wasn't considered as killing him personally. Furthermore, when the Yao Ming self-destructed, he didn't receive any attribute points as a reward. Therefore, he couldn't figure out how this mission was judged. You guessed wrong, Black Snake. A streak of green light suddenly flashed in Feng Tian's eyes. He said in a mocking tone, "Iron Arms was destined to die here before we set off. Why would I bet a treasure on a dead man?" Lin Yuan glanced coldly at Feng Tian. Feng Tian stretched his body, and a sinister look appeared on his face. He gritted his teeth and said, "Demon Snake, you've caused me so much pain. Not only did I lose my own physical body, but I also have to cultivate my cultivation technique that was about to reach the great success stage. If I let you go, I'll definitely have a heart demon, and I'll die a horrible death." As soon as he finished speaking, Feng Tian strode to Iron Arm's side. He reached out and searched Iron Arm's body for a while. Then, he grabbed the Demon Buster spear in his hand and threw Iron Arm's body aside like he was throwing away trash. He didn't care about the glaring door at all. He dragged the Demon Buster spear and slowly walked towards Lin Yuan's area. However, this is also good. After giving up my original physical body, although my cultivation will return to nothingness, I've already solved the problem of the conflict between the various demonic beasts' bloodlines. As long as I can extract your heart blood and cultivate again, I'll be able to step into the Heaven Star Border realm very soon. When that time comes. As if he was teasing Lin Yuan, Feng Tian walked very slowly as if he was taking a stroll in the park. He also kept on babbling like a chatterbox. "Unfortunately, you won't have the chance." Suddenly, a drawn-out voice sounded from behind Lin Yuan. It directly interrupted Feng Tian's babbling. As this voice sounded, the mountain-shaking apes that were fighting with the Iron Arms members gave up on their opponents and stood respectfully to the side. They bowed towards the direction behind Lin Yuan. For a moment, the scene was extremely spectacular. Fong Tian choked and was stunned on the spot for a moment. After thinking for a moment, a fine layer of cold sweat seeped out from Fong Tian's forehead. To be able to make so many mountain-shaking apes bow at the same time, even Meng Du, who was internally designated as the next patriarch, might not be able to do so. Therefore, there was no need to say who the owner of this drawn-out voice was. "Old monkey, you're not dead. How can you not be dead?" After the appearance of the three-eyed ape, all of his plans had been declared to be in vain. Fong Tian almost fell into a state of madness as he hysterically roared towards Lin Yuan's back. All of his preparations were for the sake of obtaining the black snake's heart's blood. But now, all of his efforts were in vain. Even his own body was lost in the Stoneclaw forest. At the final juncture, the three-eyed ape that was supposed to be dead actually appeared on this battlefield. Although he was arrogant and conceited, he was not arrogant enough to think that he could contend against an existence like the three-eyed ape. The reason why Zhongshan City signed so many unequal treaties was because of the three-eyed ape's existence. But now, the most important question was, why was the three-eyed ape not dead? Could it be that the demon beasts of the three major clans were all idiots? They clearly knew that the three-eyed ape was an existence that they could not contend against, but they actually chose to go to war with the Stoneclaw clan while the three-eyed ape was still alive. Could it be that they were not afraid that the three-eyed ape, whose lifespan was about to reach its end, would destroy their clan at all costs? Chapter 98. Why should I die? If I die so easily, will there be any peace in the Stoneclaw forest in the future? The three-eyed ape chuckled. It slowly lifted its hands that were wrapped in gray fur and sighed, "This rain should stop." The moment it finished speaking, the rainstorm that was constantly falling from the sky stopped abruptly. The three-eyed ape at this moment was like the only ruler of this world. Even heavens will have to follow its orders. Mountain Lord. You actually stepped into the Mountain Lord realm. Fong Tian was drenched in cold sweat. He looked at the three-eyed ape in disbelief. What was a Mountain Lord? Lin Yuan's previous mission to build a nest was called Mountain Lord. At that time, Lin Yuan felt that building a nest and becoming the overlord of an area would make one a Mountain Lord. However, at this moment, Lin Yuan realized that he was gravely mistaken. The one who submitted to 10,000 beasts was the Beast King. The one who stood above 10,000 people was the Human King. Only the one who was revered by heaven and earth was worthy of being called a lord. There was no doubt about the three-eyed ape's strength. In its long life, it was the well-deserved Beast King of the Stoneclaw forest. Even the ambitious three big clans were only worthy of being a yes-man in front of the three-eyed ape. However, it seemed that this was all there was to it. At this moment, when the three-eyed ape opened its mouth, the wind stopped and the rain stopped. It seemed to have stepped into another realm. Not yet, but it's enough to kill you. The three-eyed ape lightly shook its head. In an instant, a hint of regret flashed through its eyes. "Humph," Fong Tian snorted coldly. However, he quietly took 2 steps back and said in a deep voice, "Old monkey, so what if you're alive? Do you think that since I dared to enter the Hengduan mountain range today, I'm not prepared to leave? Hee hee. You may be able to protect this black snake today, but can you protect it forever?" As soon as he finished speaking, a green light suddenly flashed behind Fong Tian's back. At the same time, the three-eyed ape threw a punch forward. Almost one after another, Lin Yuan watched as Fong Tian's chest suddenly caved in. However, in the next moment, Fong Tian mysteriously disappeared from Lin Yuan's sight. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing Patriarch Lu and Yao Ming. Iron Hand Society member Fong Tian has escaped. determined to have failed. Host has successfully completed the third stage of the advancement mission, Throne of Corpses. Completion rate is 61%. Completion evaluation is B+. Rewards are being calculated. Host has killed family head Lou. Reward, 5 attribute points, life sealing token, Fan X1. Host has killed the demon centipede. Reward, 5 attribute points, intelligence state level 1 demon core X1. Settlement complete. The host has received a total of 10 attribute points, 1 tool, and 1 material, stored in the system backpack and the resource warehouse respectively. Ding! Congratulations to host for obtaining victory in the Black Snake Defense War. Reward, 500 war points. As Fong Tian inexplicably disappeared in front of him, a series of system prompts suddenly sounded in Lin Yuan's mind. It was only at this moment that Lin Yuan felt a chill run down his spine. Although he had the greatest respect for human beings, Master Lu's method of disappearing into thin air, from the beginning when he took out the armor-piercing talisman, still made Lin Yuan's heart palpitate. It was the first time that Lin Yuan had seen Master Lu's method of taking over someone's body. Master Lu was able to seize a person's body in an instant, and his strong airborne realm cultivator didn't even have a chance to resist. Lin Yuan suddenly felt that the humans in this world were much more terrifying than he had imagined. Sigh. The three-eyed ape let out a long sigh. He looked at Lin Yuan meaningfully and said in a deep voice, "Kid, it seems that you have provoked an extraordinary guy. The old monkey has been here for a while. The armor penetration talisman from before was not of a high grade. There are many sellers in the human black market. As long as you can afford it, you can get it. But just now, that was a rare teleportation talisman. It's a treasure that only the top powerhouses of the human race can get. If this guy did not have some fortuitous encounter, then there is an extremely terrifying force behind him. No matter which one it is, you have to be careful in the future." Lin Yuan's eyes showed some doubts. Patriarch Lu's means were indeed strange. Whether it was using the soul to control a puppet or taking over a living person's body, they were all means that only the top great demons that Lin Yuan had seen in the novels in his previous life could use. However, no matter how strange Patriarch Lu's means were, he was still a human. Just now, he had seen his opponent's entire chest caved in. With such an injury, how could anyone not die? TSK, since that guy can get the teleportation talisman, it's normal for him to get other treasures. Just now, the old monkey's punch caved in his chest. It looks serious, but it won't take his life for a while. If he can find a suitable spiritual item, he can recover in half a year at the fastest. The three-eyed ape helplessly spread out its hands. Obviously, it also felt very helpless that its punch did not kill Patriarch Lu. But haven't you already entered the Mountain Lord realm? Don't tell me. Lin Yuan asked as if it was a matter of course. However, halfway through his sentence, he stopped abruptly. This was the first time he had heard of the Mountain Lord realm. However, no matter how he looked at it, this realm was above the Wisdom realm. If the three-eyed ape had truly stepped into a higher realm, even if it couldn't recover its youthful and strong body, it wouldn't still look so sickly. You felt it. Hee hee. The three-eyed ape laughed faintly and slowly said, the boundary between life and death, peeking into the great Tao for an instant. It's just a trick. If I were 30 years younger, I might have a chance to break through. But now, it's too late. That punch just now was enough to take the old monkey's life. Although I didn't kill that guy, it doesn't matter. I did it for you and men due to see. You two little guys have the qualifications to become demon kings. I hope you won't be like the old monkey and waste your lives. When the three-eyed ape's voice fell, its movements and expression froze on its face. Lin Yuan stared blankly for a while before silently lowering his head. In his pair of vertical pupils, there was an uncontrollable sorrow. Although Lin Yuan hated the three-eyed ape's actions of dragging him into the water, the three-eyed ape showed the concern of a senior towards a junior. It made Lin Yuan feel a long-lost warmth. It was an emotion that he had not experienced for a long time. At this moment, Lin Yuan actually had the urge to cry because of the death of an old monkey that he had only met a few times. Roar! Roar! The roars of the mountain-shaking apes merged into one once again. However, this time, it was no longer a declaration of victory. A sorrow that was so dense that it couldn't be dispersed slowly enveloped the Stoneclaw forest. Chapter 99. Half an hour later. In the demonic beast forest. Although the army of the city lord's office had caught the demonic beasts by surprise, as more and more high-level demonic beasts gathered, even with the airborne realm heavy armor warriors at the front, the humans' front line continued to shrink, showing signs of being defeated. Riding on a white horse, the city lord coldly looked at the battlefield in front of him and said expressionlessly, "The agreed time has passed, why hasn't Iron Hand released the signal flare? Could it be that this group of trash can't even deal with the remnants of the four major clans that suffered heavy losses? Sir City Lord, the front line can't hold on anymore. If this drags on, we will have to replace the reserves. Why don't we retreat first?" A sweaty aide urged his horse back from the front line with a hint of panic on his face. They had underestimated the hatred of the demonic beasts for humans. As more and more demonic beasts gathered, the front line was like a huge meat grinder. Be it humans or demonic beasts, they were decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The soldiers at the front line had already lost their morale. If it wasn't for the existence of the supervision team, there would have been deserters. On the other hand, the demonic beasts were getting fiercer and fiercer. A demonic beast that was on the verge of death would be stepped on by the demonic beasts behind it before it could even lay down. Paw! As soon as the aide's voice fell, he was whipped in the face by the city lord. The city lord stared at the aide and said coldly, "Bastard, how dare you mess with the morale of my army before the war? Men! Drag this renegade down and behead him." Two of the city lord's guards immediately strode forward and dragged the aide down from the horse. Then, one on the left and one on the right, they dragged him to the front line. They planned to behead him in front of the three armies and let those who had thoughts of retreating know what would happen if they retreated now. When the city lord's voice fell, he stretched his muscles and bones. Before he could move, he immediately felt several cold gazes from the Hingduan mountain range in front of him. It was as if the mountain lords and river lords in the Hingduan mountain range would not let this matter go if he, a Heavenly Dipper realm expert, dared to slaughter those demonic beasts that were not even in the wisdom realm. Phew! The city lord gently exhaled a mouthful of turbid air, a cold light flickering in his eyes. If he went forward, he would be destroyed along with the demonic beasts. But if he went forward, he would be criticized by the imperial court. Back then, he had come to Flashing Mountain City full of confidence. He wanted to show off the prowess of the human race and make these demon beasts obediently return to being the prey of the human race. But now, a mere crushed stone clan was enough to frighten all the demon slayers of Flashing Mountain City into not daring to take even half a step into the Hingduan mountain range. However, after coming to Mountain Blocking City, he realized how laughable his ambitions were. The Hingduan mountain range was in the middle of the Seven Empires. Although a single clan was nothing much, the combined strength of the Seven Empires was something that even the Seven Empires were afraid of. If the demonic beasts in the Hingduan mountain range were to join forces, the Seven Empires might not be able to sit firmly in their current position of overlord. With such a disparity in strength, what could a mere Heaven's Dipper realm cultivator like him do? Paw! Paw! The whip in the palm of the city lord's hand cracked. He raised his head to look at the battlefield in front of him and said in a deep voice, "All armies, listen to my order. Even if you have to sacrifice your life, you have to hold on for another hour." Perhaps the beast kings of the 4 major clans were troublesome to deal with, but Tai Shou and his men had made sufficient preparations when they entered the Hingduan mountain range. If they still couldn't deal with the 4 beast kings that were severely injured, then Flashing Mountain City's situation wouldn't change for the next 100 years. Roar! Just as the city lord's voice faded, an extremely violent beast roar came from afar. The city lord's eyes narrowed. A trace of fear flashed across his clear eyes. When the 4 major clans started fighting, all the unrelated high-level demonic beasts had retreated from the Stoneclaw Forest. The situation at the front line was already so tense. How could there still be demonic beasts coming out from the Stoneclaw Forest? Could it be, in the distance, a silver-white battle line slowly appeared in everyone's line of sight? At the forefront were 60 mountain-quaking apes in their growth stage. They were all Class 10 demonic beasts. Further behind were the Wisdom Realm mountain-quaking apes led by Mendu. After the battle, there were only about 8 mountain-quaking apes left in the entire Stoneclaw clan. All of them were extremely burly and had an extremely strong will to fight. They were practically the mainstay of the entire Stoneclaw clan. If they could all be killed, the Stoneclaw clan could be said to be completely wiped out. The mountain-quaking apes were leading the charge, followed by the Hunting Wind, Boulder, and Winterwolf clans' demonic beasts. If it was any other time, the ones at the forefront would definitely be the defeated vassal demon clans. However, it was different today. The respected Wisdom Three-Eyed Ape had died under the plot of the humans. This was publicly acknowledged by every mountain-quaking ape. Therefore, they were filled with anger towards the humans and wanted to vent their anger. They didn't even gather the defeated 3 major clans. Under Mendu's lead, they directly charged towards the City Lord Mansion's army. How terrifying was a group of 60 mountain-quaking apes charging forward. These demonic beasts, who were covered in rock armor and wielded stone rods that were tens of meters long, occupied a 1,000-meter battle line. They were even more impactful than the human heavy cavalry. Those heavy armored warriors who could easily stop the Wisdom Realm demonic beasts couldn't even dodge when faced with the mountain-quaking apes' charge. They were directly thrown off their horses. Seeing the Overlord make a move, the furious roars of various demonic beasts followed closely behind. The defensive line that the heavy armored warriors had formed with great difficulty was directly declared broken. The reserve troops wearing ordinary armor and those gunners controlling the cannons were all exposed to the demonic beast's vision. In an instant, curses, screams, and pleas for mercy were all heard. The city lord stared blankly at everything that happened before his eyes. His eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. The war between the 4 major clans had already ended. Mendu led the demonic beasts of the 4 major clans out of the Stoneclaw Forest. Not only did Tai Shou's group of trash fail to complete the decapitation plan, they even angered these demonic beasts. With a bad mood, the city lord called out to his personal guards. He didn't even care about the humans who had already come into contact with the demonic beasts. He turned his horse around and charged back in the direction of Mountain Blocking City. Boom! Following a loud sound, the ground in front of the city lord was filled with dust as if something heavy had fallen. Nay! The white horse that the city lord was sitting on suddenly stood up like a human, as if it was frightened by something. The city lord swallowed a mouthful of saliva. After comforting his beloved horse, he stared ahead. His white horse had been carefully nurtured since it was young. Even among the demonic beasts, it was an incomparably fierce existence. What in the world could scare his mount? Chapter 100. The dust had settled. Hiss! the city lord sucked in a breath of cold air. A huge blood-red wolf with blood all over its body was glaring at him with a pair of eyes full of unwillingness. One of its front paws had turned into stone, while the other one was twisted beyond recognition. The bones all over its body were shattered, and even its flesh and blood could not be seen from its original appearance. This was Blizzard, the leader of the Winter Wolf clan. A frost wolf with terrifying strength. After the death of the three-eyed ape, it was the Wisdom Realm Great Demon with the highest chance of competing for the position of Overlord in the Stoneclaw Forest. However, at this moment, Blizzard was already lifeless. There wasn't a single part of its body that was intact. This was a declaration. A declaration of the fate of all those who took advantage of the three-eyed ape's death to stir up trouble. Gulp. The city lord swallowed a mouthful of saliva and suddenly felt an itch in his throat. He was a dignified Heaven Dipper realm expert who could easily kill anyone with just a finger. However, when facing Blizzard's corpse, his first reaction wasn't anger, but fear. Lin Yuan, who was lying on the thick shell of a grade 10 mystic tortoise, saw the city lord's reaction. A trace of contempt flashed across its blue-white vertical pupils. The city lord felt something and turned his head, exchanging glances with Lin Yuan. After pondering for a moment, he realized that this should be the psychic black snake that the Lu clan's patriarch had mentioned. The repeated setbacks of the mountain-blocking city during this period of time in the Hingduan mountain range were largely related to this black snake. However, after seeing Lin Yuan's appearance, the city lord no longer had any killing intent in his heart. What did the enemy of the Lu clan's patriarch have to do with him? As an existence that came from the imperial capital in the past, his knowledge was naturally far from what the Lu clan's patriarch could compare with. With just a glance, he could tell that this black snake had the bloodline of the dragon race. Even though it hadn't stepped into the wisdom realm, it already showed signs of transforming into a flood dragon. The pitch-black scales on its body were the best evidence. If it grew a single horn, this black snake would be called the Black Jiao. There was a flood serpent in the Hingduan mountain range, and it only showed signs of transforming into a flood serpent when it was about to become a mountain lord. However, this black serpent's bloodline was definitely much denser than that flood serpent's. A demon beast of this level would at most become a demon king of the dragon palace of the four seas in the future. Even the monarchs of the 7 dynasties would have to show some respect to it. As the city lord of Mountain Rampart City, if he were to provoke such an existence, he would be completely tired of living. Perhaps the dragon bloodline demon beasts from the dragon palace of the four seas would come knocking on his door tomorrow and casually snap his neck. The most ridiculous thing was that the Lu family's patriarch actually wanted to devour this black snake. Ding! The city lord of Mountains Rampart City has lost his hostility towards you. Your relationship with him has increased by 100 points. Current relationship is neutral. The system notification made Lin Yuan slightly startled. He was somewhat unable to understand this city lord of mountain blocking city. Back then, when he killed 2 Class 9 demon beasts, the relationship between him and the city lord mansion had dropped from neutral to hostile. But today, when he threw the corpse of Blizzard in front of the city lord mansion's relationship with him had actually improved, directly reverting from a mortal enemy to a neutral one. Could it be that this guy has a blood feud with Blizzard? The city lord did not dare to stay there any longer. He just glanced at Lin Yuan from afar, then used the horsewhip to whip the white horse's buttocks. The white horse immediately galloped toward Mountain Rampart City. The abandoned humans and the demon beasts were fighting. One side was fighting for survival, while the other side was fighting for revenge. Flesh and blood were flying everywhere on the battlefield, and the air was filled with the pungent smell of blood. Everyone was staring at their opponents fiercely, fantasizing that they would be able to survive until the end. Both the monsters at the Wisdom Realm and the humans at the Airborne Realm did not actually participate in the battle. The monsters on the side of the 4 major clans had fought a chaotic battle before. After the first round of attacks that tore through the humans' front lines, the monsters were somewhat exhausted. As such, they slowly retreated from the front lines. Only a few of them who were angered continued to fight. On the human side, while airborne realm experts could not really fly as their realm title indicated, they were able to release spiritual chi outside their body. As long as they jumped high enough, they would be able to glide in the air for a short period of time, which would increase their speed considerably. Therefore, other than the heavy armored warriors who were held back, most of the airborne realm humans had already retreated with the city lord. The Class 9 Yao beasts were the main force on the battlefield. Lin Yuan, who was injured, expressed that he did not want to participate in such a battle at all. It would be a waste of effort and gain nothing. Even if he were to kill all of the humans on the battlefield, it might not provide him with a lot of attribute points. The snake flicked its tongue and licked its mouth. Lin Yuan looked in the direction where the city lord left. A hint of viciousness flashed in his vertical eyes. These humans kept finding trouble with him, one after another. Sooner or later, he would make these humans kneel on the ground and repent. System, can I still not advance to the wisdom realm yet? Lin Yuan asked out of boredom. The host must have all attributes over 100 points to advance to the wisdom realm. Currently, all attributes are 72 points, and you have 15 free attribute points. You have not met the advancement requirements yet. The system responded to Lin Yuan's question with a serious tone. The 10 attribute points were the mission reward, and the extra 5 attribute points were contributed by Blizzard. Even if all of them were added up, it would not be enough for him to advance to the wisdom realm. However, he was so weak at the moment that even moving was a luxury. If he were to fight against wisdom realm demons or airborne realm humans now, it would be an act of suicide. However, if he did not break through, he would not be able to use the power of the system to completely heal his injuries. Lin Yuan felt as if he had entered an endless cycle. Although devouring the energy produced by demons or spiritual items could also heal his injuries, it was just like cultivating the golden body secrets on his own. The efficiency was simply too slow. System, what is the use of the war points? Can it help me advance? Lin Yuan narrowed his eyes slightly and asked with evil intentions. He now had 800 war points in his hand. According to the system's previous instructions, if he did not win 2 battles, 80 attribute points would be deducted from his interface at this moment, directly reducing it to a negative number. Although the system had said that it would only deduct his attribute points when the war points were not enough to pay the price of failure, and that the 2 data were not allowed to be connected at other times. However, Lin Yuan always felt that this system, which was not comfortable if it did not cheat him, always had some loopholes to exploit. The host can pay war points to directly buy items or use them for the lottery. As long as the rules allow it, the host can obtain it through the lottery roulette in the war treasury. However, the system has a friendly reminder that the probability of drawing the lottery roulette is very low, and there is a high possibility of a free pass. After the system broadcast ended, the electronic synthesized voice could not suppress the teasing voice again. Would the host like to open the war treasury now? You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.